Welcome everyone to Totally Online Gaming Group's Twitch channel. We're glad you guys could join us for another of our 5th edition D&D sessions in our campaign, The Blackest Heart. So, as always, we need to give a shout out to our sponsors, and you will notice that the video is a little different tonight. We've got, instead of our 6 cameras, we've got 4. And that is because we've got 3 of our players all in the same place tonight, and so they will be joining us as a group, and that will be for a kind of a continuous amount of time until the near future. But all right, as I said, as always, we need to give a shout out to our sponsor, Critical Hit Gaming Supplies. So, Jacob, would you like it, or shall I?
Go ahead and take it.
All right, so Critical Hit Gaming Supplies, they are an amazing, family-owned, locally owned in Central Florida company that has all sorts of awesome gaming supplies, hence the name, that you guys can use for your games, including some really cool dice trays, dice bags, all these where you can pick several different, icons and things that they've got available that you can have put on them, as well as a whole cubic butt ton of minis. So many that they don't even have room on their website for all the pictures of them. So, if you check them out, link is in the chat there, and you see something you like, when you get to the checkout, make sure to use TOGG15, that's TOGG15, at checkout, and you'll get 15% off of your purchase. So, real quick, let's do a sound check to make sure we can hear everyone fairly well. So, we'll start it off, as always, Eurydice. All right. Rogar.
Whoa.
Okay. All right. And now for the trio, which one of them is not there yet. So all of you just say something.
Sup? Did you know?
I will smooth.
Okay.
Every time.
Bring good facts.
All right. So hopefully you guys can hear them all. It sounds like I can hear them in my earbud here. So I think we're good to go on audio. So with that being said, other announcements. Tomorrow, again, our Tailspire Collaborative build stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And really, that's about it to announce for now. Again, some possible cool things coming up in the future, but we're not quite there yet and ready to announce them. We'll let you know when they're getting closer. So, does anyone else have any announcements?
I stream hopefully more often on Dragonfire 45. I stream lots of games, mostly Minecraft, and hopefully Mass Effect soon, because my brother says that's fun. So, yeah, come by and hang out and stuff.
All right.
You can catch me over at King Rogar. If you mean whenever I type in chat, it's there. You can follow that. Absolute 20 is on a temporary hiatus due to real life scheduling getting in people's way. So yeah, you can also check out there, but it's a little dead right now. Back to PM.
All right.
Brought it back.
All right, I think that's about it for announcements. So, without further ado, we bring you The Blackest Heart. So, we are back. So, where we last left off, in our last session that we didn't have one last week due to life stuff, but we do this week. And in that last session, where we were is that the party had arrived at the Shifter Kingdom and began to set up a kind of a base camp by finding an inn, the Salty Fish, and exploring the city under the guise of Jacob's seeming spell, keeping them hidden as various types of shifters. During that time, Jacob put out a sending spell to try to reach out to Fael, one of the elf twin sisters that the party met what seems like ages ago, where he asked her about the possibility of herself and her sister Kaya coming up to the Shifter Kingdom, to which Vale responded that it would probably be at least 2 months for them to be able to make the journey, so it would be quite a while, but they would do the best they could. He also asked a little bit more about Saloon, and trying to get some information about the goddess and her ways. And unfortunately, Fael doesn't really have much information, but said that her sister Kaya, who is a priestess of Saloon, would probably be able to fill in everyone upon arriving up at the Shifter Kingdom. During that time, Diana sought to gather some information from the proprietor of the inn and tavern at which they were staying, a fairly large man, again a shifter, who goes by the name of Reggie, and he has very ape-like characteristics, and that's the type of shifter that he is. And so she began to attempt to befriend him, and slowly but surely prod him with questions, each one a little more probing, to see where his thoughts lie when it comes to this Queen's Law that the party has begun to hear about, and these fairly hefty taxes for seeming innocuous things happening. Eventually, she realized that Reggie might be someone she could trust, and she took a risk, announcing to him who she truly was, and revealing herself. At this point, Reggie kind of was taken aback. Initially with shock and not quite clear understanding of what she was saying, and then finally acceptance and realization that standing before him was the true heir to the throne of this kingdom, and not the one who is currently sitting on the high seat. He immediately pledged his loyalty and fealty and prostrated himself before her. Meanwhile, Eurydice went to go and help with some of the cleaning that needed to be done, as the rooms in this inn and tavern have seen many better days. It seems like there's not a lot of travel and therefore need for an inn. So not many clients have actually frequented this place in a long time, and the rooms have kind of gone by the wayside. So Eurydice volunteered to go help. And she found...
No, she didn't volunteer.
She snuck away to go help. And she found Reggie's young daughter, also an ape-type shifter, named Vera, and began to work with her and help her clean, and also questioned her on this Queen's Law, which, just like Reggie initially said, Vera kind of clammed up and said, "We can't talk about that. We're not allowed to talk about that." And in the meantime, she decided to play a little bit of a prank on the party's adventuring companions, hence known as the dumbasses, by prepping their room with, instead of a sufficient number of beds, only 2, and not cleaning it quite as well as the rest.
I think it's funny.
Yes. Rogar, during this time, decided he was going to go and utilize the fact that he was still under the effects of this seeming spell to explore the city a little bit and see if he could find a Temple of Saloon. After walking around for some time, he eventually did, at which point, upon entering, he came across a creature that looked to be way more animal than a typical shifter, and very, very cat-like in appearance. who introduced himself as Father Edric, a cleric of Saloon. They began to talk, and Rogar began to offer his service, implying that he himself was a cleric of Saloon, and asking for a replacement holy symbol as his was lost. So, obligingly, Father Edric went to find one of the, and only other, member of the clergy in this temple, Brother Maynard, and they retrieved for Rogar a very simple holy symbol of Saloon. Rogar then decided, you know what, I want to help. How can I help? And he donated 1,000 gold to the church in order to help all of the people in the city and the followers of Saloon that frequented the temple, such that they could hopefully get some respite in what seems to be some fairly difficult times within this kingdom. And lastly but not least, Razmith decided to wander through the city, again under the effects of the seeming spell, appearing like a short but stocky bear-type shifter. Found himself entering a general store to look at the wares, where a fairly large bear-type shifter, going by the name of Samuel, introduced himself, and they began to talk. Razmith attempted to try to get some information out of Samuel, prodding him with questions, but only getting cryptic half-answers, to which eventually Samuel seemed like he trusted Razmith enough to offer him a choice. A choice to join or not. Join what? Razmith still does not quite know. Does anyone else? But maybe we'll find that out tonight. Okay. Everyone eventually met back up in the tavern to enjoy a nice meal, where they awaited one of the city guards that they had met and sort of befriended at the beginning, which was Tamir. So Tamir and one of his guard friends, Elijah, entered the bar, and upon entering the bar, Tamir sees the party and makes a beeline for them with his friend Elijah, who is also a bear-type shifter. Sit down and says, "Hey, thanks for inviting me and my friend to come have drinks with you." At which point Elijah kind of nods, looks directly across at Razmith, and just winks, with Razmith now remembering that Samuel had told him, "Meet me at midnight, and we'll go over some more details."
He didn't say where, though.
He did not say where. So, that is where you left off. You guys are currently in the Salty Fish, sitting down, enjoying a meal, perhaps a few drinks, and discussing things amongst yourselves. Tamir and Elijah have just sat down to join you. What are you doing now?
Well, Eurydice, while all this, everyone was coming in and stuff, Eurydice, she snuck into the kitchen and she made herself some food because she was bored and she likes making people annoyed and slightly distraught. And it's a little bit of chaos that she can cause. And
Okay.
she's gonna take it.
Okay.
It's harmless chaos.
And there's
So,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, she made herself some mac and cheese. And
Okay. Mac and cheese, alright.
And in case
Hold
you're
on.
wondering about the historical accuracy of mac and cheese,
Hold on.
the first recorded recipe was in 1390. So,
Yes, 1390 in... Oh, this world. Okay.
yes, but still, it's possible.
Mac and cheese. Hold on, I'm taking notes. Mac and cheese now exists.
Eurydice
in this.
way. All you need to make elbow noodles is flour and eggs.
Yep.
You can shake them up if you really want to.
Well, she didn't necessarily say it was elbow macaroni. She just said it was mac and cheese. So it could really technically be any kind of noodle and cheese, and you just kind of
It could also be mackerel.
Oh, it could be
Yeah.
mackerel and cheese.
mackerel and cheese,
No, it's noodles and cheese.
or it could be Maybe it's just a platter with macadamia nuts and then some slices of cheese.
So everyone could have some.
Oh, nice.
Some of these concoctions sound very odd in my mouth.
Once they sit down at the table, and you said we're all together when they joined us,
Yes, you're all together at the table.
Diana's gonna look at the friend who you've already encountered, but she hasn't. She's gonna look
Oh.
at the friend and go,
Well, no, to be clear, Rasmuth has not encountered this friend before. Rasmuth never actually encountered this guy before. Rasmuth encountered Samuel, and Samuel told him, both Rasmuth, who's looking like a bear-type shifter, and Samuel, who continued to call him, who is also a bear-type shifter, referred to him as brother very, very often, got him to agree to meet him at midnight. And then upon Tamir and Elijah entering the bar and sitting down with you, Elijah, who is also a bear-type shifter, looks dead at Rasmuth and just winks.
Kinky.
No.
"Oh,
Unshade
it's a
your
puppy."
eyes. Will slap my bear hide.
Whoa.
Hey, no, that's for the NC-17 version. We leave that for that.
Shield your eyes.
But
man.
no.
Can't see.
Regardless, Diana is still going to gesture to the friend that he brought,
Mhm.
and she's like, "I don't believe we've been introduced."
He looks at you and he says, "No, we haven't. Name's Elijah. Pleasure to meet you."
Did we give code names at the gate?
That's a good question.
Because I don't remember ever actually introducing ourselves.
You
No,
really
we
didn't.
walked-
Yeah, we never actually introduced ourselves.
We didn't give a name.
We paid our way through. We didn't have to speak.
And they were just surprised at how much we had.
Just as a little nod to myself, when he introduces himself as LJ, this is a little Easter egg for myself. She's actually going to smile and introduce herself as Dahlia.
Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
I like how Shelby recognizes it.
and he's like, "As said, pleasure to meet you." And he looks around at everyone else.
Jacob to go next.
Jeremiah.
Yes. What is it you need?
Oh no, that was his answer to the person, assuming that he was asking for a name.
I know, and you when you say Jeremiah is answering in your head. What is it you need?
Jacob responds like he said, "Sorry, I needed a big name."
Ah, I see. And
She looks on dead in the eyes. She said, "My name is Kevin."
Also, question: did Diana notice the wink?
I would say this is pretty difficult. Everyone can give me a perception check. Everyone.
Even your
Actually, Eurydice's actually. You're gonna give me something completely different here. You're gonna give me a straight dexterity check. I'm giving you dex because you're good at it, and I'm giving you a leg up on this. It's really just to see, had you stepped away to the kitchen to cook your mac and cheese before the wink or after, or before he winked, or were you there during that time?
19.
19. Okay, you left after he did the wink, so you would have noticed. And what did everyone else get?
I got a 24.
That also succeeds.
16.
That does not. Well, it was right to you.
He looked right at me and I was watching him.
Yeah, you saw it. You saw it. Rogar, what did you get?
You are muted.
I think you're muted. I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah. I got a 9. I didn't see it.
A 9. No, you didn't see anything either. So, Diana, Eurydice, and, of course, Rasmuth, you all caught the wink. It was clearly directed at Rasmuth. For what reason, you don't know. You merely can speculate. He really hasn't had the time to explain everything that has occurred to him. So...
Diana's gonna lean over to Rasmuth. She's like, so how did your day in town go? And then she's gonna make the very subtle eye gesture of like, what was that in regards to the guy?
Okay.
It went fine. I feel like I'm being interrogated again.
It's because you are.
Well, I'm just
I got
curious.
a coat. I got a nice coat.
I see this.
I am now very warm.
Mm.
Talked to a fellow in the shop.
Okay.
That's
That's where the connect would have been
that's
for her.
the fellow.
But no, she's going to turn back to Goldfish Brain. What were their names?
Tamir and Elijah. Tamir is a wolf type shifter, I believe. Yes. Yep. And Elijah is the bear type. And when you look at them, neither of them are wearing their guard attire. They seem to be in more casual clothes.
They retire.
Yes. Tamir, even in his casual clothes, he seems to be very lean, but also very muscular. He's not some bulging brute, but he's definitely muscular, but he's got this very lean frame. Whereas Elijah is just a very large man.
No, introduced to
Overall.
Mir. As the bear.
No,
Is Tamir
Tamir is the wolf.
Okay.
He said that
Yes.
earlier.
Think,
Goldfish Brain.
yeah.
Keep swimming.
Yep. Just keep swimming.
She's gonna look at Tamir and Elijah, and do you want to say something?
Oh no, she was singing "Just Keep Swimming."
Oh, okay. She was trying to like do something. She's going to turn to them and she's gonna ask you, did we just come late in the day? I haven't seen very many townsfolk since we came into the city. I was hoping to ask about some of the history since we're visiting.
And are you dressing which one, Tamir or
Either of them.
either of them?
Kind of both.
All right. Oh, Tamir kind of looks over at LJ, looks back over at you, and says, "Well, I mean, you're new here, so obviously you wouldn't know. But I mean, let's just say things are a bit rough, and people tend to stay indoors a lot."
Do you think they would know? No.
While she is thinking,
Oh, I'm gonna shoot you a message really quick. You go.
Jacob is going to just. So, how long have you been a part of God?
Tamir kind of just looks at you and says, "Well, geez, let me think here. Guess it's been 6 years now."
I'm sorry, it's loud.
Yeah, I'm sure you should.
Right. Maybe there's not smoke rising.
It was like ninja.
At some point, you can just. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. That is bad. I'm sorry.
That's all good. That's all right.
So after hearing that, did Tamir answer that he was there for 6 years?
Yes. Tamir answered 6, and he looks over at LJ, and LJ's kind of like, hmm. And he's actually got his fingers out, and he's kind of counting. And he goes, 3, and holds up 4 fingers.
I was about to say, can I do a check to see if it's actually 3 years or if he just doesn't know what number?
So you're trying to insight check this.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
I would like to get an insight check on Tamir's to see if he's actually been around for 6 years.
Okay. So yeah, both of you roll insight checks.
I got a 23.
Alright.
Okay.
Because I'm just so... Can you go, Sheep, please? Because I'm just so good at insight. Yeah, not bad. 16.
16. You feel like Tamir's being straight up with you. And Diana, what you're getting is Ella J's not necessarily the brightest. That's the best. So it's either 3 or 4. You're not sure which. He said 3, but he held up 4 fingers. So
Yeah, that's why I was checking.
yeah.
You know how dumb shifters can be.
With the 23 roll, would she be able to tell if Tamir was also telling the truth?
Yeah, you feel like he's being straight up with you.
Jacob's gonna kind of follow up.
So how... Sorry, it was a question that I just thought of.
You have more questions. You do have more questions. Has that... Limit some questions for people first. Has that been in... has that law been in place since y'all been on the force?
And Tamir kind of takes his hand and just kind of rests it on the table, and then just kind of does the up and down motion with his hand a little bit, and looks at you, a little bit more of a stern look in his eye, and just says, and then he kind of looks around, and you actually see his ears twitch a little bit as he's looking around, and he says, I don't care how empty this place may be. Keep your voice down when you speak of such things.
Alright, duly noted.
I don't know what kind of check this would be. Actually, I won't do that yet. But she's going to ask them, so you've been on the guard for 6 years. Have you lived here your entire life?
He looks at you and he says, you know, you ask a lot of questions, but you don't give out a lot of information about yourselves. I'm curious about you guys. I mean, where did you guys come from?
We actually came from across the ocean. We're not originally from here. The last place we visited was... God, what was the name of the port city? It's where we got the boat.
Jacob with his incredible intelligence would know. I currently do not.
Okay. Yeah, you guys got on the boat in Oceanica.
We just came from Oceanica,
Yep.
actually.
Yeah, the city was Oceanica. That was the port city you guys were in that you got on the ship.
Really?
Pretty sure. Let me see.
No, yeah, we didn't.
Wait.
leave from Oceanica. We left from a tiny port city.
Yeah.
That's right. You were in Oceanica earlier. Man, it's been so long. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull up the maps. Map. I'm the map. Okay. Alright. Yes. Okay. That's right. Yep. You went to a little port city just across the border into the kingdom of Arcspire, but it's just a little ways away from the fort, the destroyed fort that you guys encountered, and the Death Tyrant.
So, can I just throw a random name right now for the named city since we don't
Sure.
actually know what it is off our heads?
Sure.
Like, obviously, fill in correct one here, but... yeah.
That is the name. It's correct one here. How did not?
Wow, that's.
But no, so like, we actually just came from insert here.
Well, inside here. Say a name.
Yeah, come out with something. Let's hear it. World build with us.
Yeah, we just came from.
Name the city or die. I love it.
We came from,
You said
what's
Vanport.
space? Portrait wasn't space.
Portrait was his face.
Yep.
Anyway, but we just came from Vanport, the fort city. We wanted to see the north. Not much of it is mapped. And we heard about the kingdom before from other travelers, so we wanted to see it for ourselves. You don't commonly hear about an entire kingdom of that specific race. Normally, they're just within tribes or groups on the other side. And
I
I'm
see.
technically not lying about any of that.
I see. Interesting. Well, I suppose since you asked, he kind of nods over to LJ, who's just kind of sitting there with a fairly big dumb grin on his face. And actually enjoying some of the food that is at the table. He looks over it and he says, well, LJ and I actually, we came over from Vorn. We grew up there together. And, well, it's not very nice over there.
Would Jacob
Pretty-
have any knowledge of Vor?
Give me a history check.
Sure. Is
Would I have any knowledge of lore?
Do I have
You-
any knowledge of war?
Anyone who wants to can make a history check. Jacob may have a good idea of it just because of his studies. Diana, you may have some knowledge of it.
Eurydice's got a 19.
Okay.
None of us know.
Eurydice's got 19.
2 plus 8.
I got an 11.
All right. So we got.
11.
What'd you get, Rogar?
I'm 11 too.
All right. So we got 2 11s, a 19. What'd you get, Jacob?
11, make a wish. I got a 10 on a little one.
And Diana?
Got 7.
Okay. So
3. We got a plus 8.
He got 1, 2, 3.
So right now, Diana, you're actually kind of blanking on Vorn right now because you're more invested in the conversation, so your mind's really not focusing on oh yeah, I know about this and that. The rest of you, minus Eurydice, the rest of you, you can recall that there is a continent called Vorn. You do recall that there, was a thing quite a while back called the Vorn Wars, where hordes and hordes of creatures of various types invaded from this northeastern continent, came across the sea, and began devastating everybody until everyone banded together and put aside their differences and fought back as a group. And they finally pushed them all back. Eurydice, you specifically know that in addition to that, Vorn itself is you heard some stories. You actually don't remember where you learned this.
Oh, fancy.
But it seems to be coming to your mind almost just out of nowhere that Vorn, a continent in the northeast, typically inhabited by creatures mainly of the goblinoid race, as well as orckin, giantkin, and other giant kind. Many monstrous and aberrational creatures also call this land their home. It is savage and very, very dangerous. It's almost like you're reading it out of a book or being taught this as some kind of lesson. And this information is coming to your mind. And some of that information that you pull forth is that after the Vorn War, some of the people from the main continent that everyone, where you guys all come from, some of the people had been captured during that war and taken back as prisoners, and were never recovered. And so there was always thoughts that those people, there was quite a few of them of various races, creeds, colors, religions, etc., that were captured. And there was always the thought that, okay, those people were either killed or perhaps even enslaved. And now, as time goes on, who knows, maybe some of them have integrated into the society there, or what little society there actually is. Or, at the very least, there are now pockets of people that are not originally from there who now live there. And that kind of, when Tamir mentions that they're both from Vorn, you kind of figure that, well, based on what they look like age-wise, they were probably born there to people who had been captured, or the children of people who had been captured, or the children of people who had been captured during that Vorn War. Because, from what you know, no one would really want to call that land their home. It's so savage.
Makes sense.
Well, as you said, we've asked a lot of questions. Do you have any others for us that you'd like to know?
He kind of pauses for a second, takes a drink of an ale that's at the table, and just kind of looks at you, looks around the table, and he says, yeah, where in the hell did you get so much money?
Ulysses, washing her mac and cheese. She's just shoveling some into her mouth. She just looks up for half a second. She says, magic, with a mouth full of food, and just then goes back to her food.
I mean, part of it's not wrong.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not wrong, but, Diana...
One person knows it.
Diana's going to... She's gonna strike a little bit, and she's like, well, we've been traveling for a long time. We've come across different treasures and earnings throughout different jobs and things we've come across.
Eurydice just giggles, just tries and snorts, and just like, ha, 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 I stole most of mine.
You say that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right.
He actually kind of like snorts a little bit and almost spits some of his beer out as he then starts to, he coughs a little bit and chokes on it, finally gets it down, then he starts to kind of laugh a little bit. He's like, oh my god. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Diana is going to reach from her bag of holding and pull out some of the dragon scales. She helped Rasmus carve off the dragon from the swamp.
Okay.
And she's going to show them the dragon scales and be like, yeah, generally when you fight beasts like this, you tend to find hordes.
Including.
Hmm.
When you're traveling, you don't have to pay for a mortgage.
Also true.
All right. He seems a little kind of taken aback at that proclamation and showing him a dragon scale, and he goes, and then he kind of just nods and he goes, huh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought someone could do that.
And she'll put it away. Comes with the trades.
Trade. So speaking of what that's another question. What do you guys actually do?
Well, I'm a whore.
This time he does spit out his drink, like,
What is your indices?
and he kind of looks around at the table, and he looks at you, and he looks around at the table, and he's like, "She's serious?"
She has a giant grin on her face because she's fucking with him.
At this point, Rasmus has looked away.
Mm.
I'm not associated with this
Okay.
anymore.
So I do need
Time of her life while eating this mac and cheese.
I do need you to roll I do need you to roll a deception check.
Well, I mean, that's her performance because she's not trying to lie. She's just trying
Well,
to teach
are
a
you-
joke.
Is your current occupation a whore?
I mean, technically, no.
So then technically you are lying.
You're an adventurer now.
17 plus 8.
Okay. All right. He fully believes you're telling the truth.
And she's gonna start giggling and she goes, I'm kidding. I used to be a whore.
Oh.
I was with a traveling caravan. Then I met this group of whatever you want to call us.
And then he goes,
The masses that's reserved for the guys upstairs.
and he goes, oh, of course. I caught that.
Completely.
Yeah, I totally caught that.
Obviously.
Well, you have one more question before we're even.
Oh, is this how all this works?
Apparently.
Okay.
I mean, so, especially since I'm buying you your drinks. I did offer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He looks over at LJ and he's like, "Do you have any questions for me?" And he says, And he kind of leans down in, brings his head closer to the table, closer to the middle of it, looks around at all of you, kind of gives, yeah, gives, yeah, he gives you kind of the come closer finger beckoning.
She's also doing this with her mac and cheese.
She really likes that macaroni.
She does. Apparently she does. And so do all of you kind of lean in?
It's the only thing she knows how to make, okay?
Diana is just for the fun of it. She's just gonna lean towards him as well. She's like, yes.
Jacob is going to let Prim hop onto the ground,
Okay.
and he's going to lean in as well.
Oh, like onto the table and then lean.
No, he is putting Prim onto the ground, and he's going to lean forward. Prim is going to start making his way over to like a window.
Okay.
I see what you're doing.
And he leans in. He looks at all of you. And then in a very low voice, a whisper that barely makes it to your ears, he says, "Do you believe people should be free to enjoy the fruits of their labors?"
I mean, what kind of fruits are we talking here?
Diana, understanding what he's asking, will give a relaxed smile. And
Okay.
she's like, well,
And then, before you can speak, he actually puts his hand up with kind of the shush motion right in front of you, and he turns his head directly towards Rasmuth and stares at you.
Oh.
generally when I get shushed, it's for a good reason.
Rasmus just stares back.
And then
So awkward.
he just kind of nods his head. And then he puts his hand down and looks back to you, Diana.
So would you like your answer, or am I going to be shushed?
you've already given it.
While this is going on, can Friend do a perception check to see if there's anyone looking around near the building?
All right. Roll the perception check.
Oh, that's hot. Much better. 21.
21. Damn.
Good roll.
But no, Diana, hearing the well, you've already given one. She's gonna like lean back and look at Rasmus and go, "Am I giving one?" And she's like,
Or this is just gonna look at Samuel now.
"It's not Samuel."
I thought Samuel was there.
No.
No.
You said Samuel.
No, it's a different bear. It's a different teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all bears look alike, I guess.
Right?
I am technically new to this bear thing.
Yeah. But no, so while Rasmus is like, and just kind of looks at him, Diana's gonna go, rather than assume what I was going to say, whether it was correct or not what your assumption was.
Jacob, there's a message for you in Discord.
Gotcha.
She's like, I come from a caravan of gypsies. The entire thing we believe in is freedom and fruits of your labor and handling each other.
Jacob is just going to, while sitting there, everyone around him knows he's blind. He's going to kind of a glance in Rogar's direction and just crook his head towards the window.
Do I notice that?
Because you're really notice that.
Because I sit right next to
He
you.
is being very
Why notice it?
Yeah, he's trying to. You're trying to be.
I will do a stealth check.
Yep.
And then
Oh god, you should know. My
Yeah,
perception's
you're-
horrible.
You're trying to do. You're trying to be subtle. So yep, it is a stealth check. Actually, I would consider this a sleight of hand.
a sleight of hand. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
14.
Okay.
I think my passive.
Yeah, your passive should be good.
Yeah, I have a 16 passive, so I would have noticed.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay.
And Frick is trying to continue walking around like nothing happened.
Okay. So
I have a question for you now.
yes.
'Cause we're-
By the way, anyone who had over Jacob's sleight of hand check as a passive perception would have noticed.
If it was directed at me, do I need a roll?
Is your passive above his sleight of hand?
No.
Then
No.
you need to roll, but I'm gonna give you advantage because he's trying to direct it at you.
Because his mindset is, Rogar is kind of the and if you get the group, you can go and say, hey, what the heck are you doing?
Eurydice will actually put down her mac and cheese, tap Rogar on the shoulder, and just nod towards the door.
Do you all have a message? Why doesn't someone just message me?
I could, but I'm not
Yeah,
trying
if
to tell them that.
I don't have a message.
I can send my homunculus servant over to the window.
No, it's fine.
Actually going over there because she wants to deal with things. Because she's bored.
Diana.
Get up and go.
Diana will point to Galar when she sees Eurydice get up. She's like, Galar, could you help Eurydice around a bit? You know how hard it is for her laces in the back of the leather? And I have a feeling she's going outside.
I'm supposed to go outside? Oh, man.
You are going outside, yes.
Well, first I'm just
I have to
by
check
the-
on my
I'm standing by
horse.
the window to see what's going on, and then I will.
And what Diana's gonna do is actually in Thieves' Cant, I'm gonna get your attention and essentially ask, are you going outside yet?
Then Eurydice will respond in Thieves' Cant, not yet, seeing what the situation is.
If you do,
I'm walking west.
take one of them.
Got it.
Rogar's just going outside.
Okay. And
I
Your
don't speak
armor.
these, can't.
Eurydice will just like grab him by like his scruff, like with his arm, where his
My armor scruff.
yeah,
and
just
when
stop him.
when you communicate in Thieves' Cant back and forth to each other, you're still kind of leaned in close at the table here. Most of it.
I have
Most
my
of it.
back.
Okay. But LJ's still leaned in there close.
Oh shit.
And he looks at you and he motions to you. Now remember, Thieves' Cant is not Drow sign language. It is a combination of speech and like hand motions. So there's actual Yep. So there's actual speech and everything going along too. So you hear him say to you in Thieves' Cant in a whisper of it. And why is she needing to go outside? What have you seen?
Diana's gonna she's just gonna smile and she's gonna look at the both of them. And because he speaks Steve can't, she'll keep speaking in it. She'll say, well, given what I've seen of this city and its taxes so far, should I be concerned or should I be considering this help?
He just it's like his neck extends further. Cl- Yeah, he's really leaning over, like almost across this table, and getting to get closer to where you are. And
And she'll humor him and she'll move forward so it's easier for him. She's just smiling and waiting.
and he just says, "In Thieves' Camp, I need to know right now if we are being watched."
Diana, understanding this and taking a more serious tone, will go, I need to know which side of the wall you are hoping to protect if someone is outside. And she's gonna be referring to the castle wall. And I'm sure she could make, like, when she says the word wall in Thieves' Cant, I'm sure there's something to specify, like a castle wall.
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Make their hands go around and just pile her up.
Mm-hmm.
So far, currently not wanting to know what's there.
17 plus 10.
Okay. You're pretty sure that any kind of insinuation without directly saying exactly what you mean is probably going to go over his head.
Okay. So what I'm actually gonna do is the way I'm gonna phrase it is, I need to know from you if someone is outside, are they your enemy or your ally?
And so he looks at you. Is somebody outside? Give me another insight check.
Just be playing with the man. Stop being cryptic, goddammit.
28.
When he asks you that pretty much directly, and he actually asks you that in common, so everyone hears it. He looks worried.
Okay, that gives me my answer.
Jacob will just sitting there and just glances over because currently he's the only one who has seen what's out there.
Hearing that, you know Sylvan.
Hmm?
Speaking to you in Sylvan, and I know Rogar can understand me as well.
If he hasn't made it outside already.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you're just gonna stop and she's at the
She's
window.
going to ask, I'm gonna ask Jacob, is anyone outside and is there anyone we should be concerned about?
Jacob will respond, some type of weasel listening in, trying to get information, I guess. Probably what mess that's fine.
Alright.
He'll turn and look at LJ or Tamir to see if they are what they are saying to each other.
Doesn't seem like it. But
Insanely worried.
at this same time that this conversation is going down, Eurydice and Rogar have both kind of gotten up and left the table. Eurydice, you'd made your way over towards the window.
Yep.
Okay. And Rogar, you'd gotten up as well and started heading towards the door. And when you guys are kind of having this conversation in Sylvan, this is just at the tail end of when LJ said, "Is somebody outside?" and looked worried. And as soon as you guys begin talking, he seems to get even more nervous. He looks over at Tamir and does anybody speak Orcish?
That's a good question, actually.
I don't believe I do.
It's probably
No.
they don't have. Could go over to mine real fast because I have a lot. I do not.
You
But
do not?
Orcish, doesn't Orcish have dialects of Dwarvish in it?
Not really. It is its own language. So,
I was just curious. I didn't remember.
Yep.
Now that you know,
but
because
he
she knows-
he turns and says to Tamir in Orcish, "Kara ruach dasim." And Tamir's like, "Shit!" Stands up really quick.
Diana's gonna put her hand up really fast, and then thieves can't because they understand it. She's gonna go, "We're having somebody check. You can sit back down. If you make any too many sudden..."
You don't understand. We're out of here. And at that same time, LJ gets up. Both of them rush for the back door.
I could technically block it, but if I block it, it's gonna go poorly.
Jake will allow them to pass.
I want to make a persuasion roll.
You've got 3 seconds to say something because they are not holding up real quick. I mean, they're going.
If you're looking for help, we are the right people you need to speak to.
Go ahead and roll persuasion. This is going to be very difficult. I mean, very difficult.
We're asking people who are practical. Especially when they think they
If I have flight responses kicked in, flight has the option they have chosen.
Doesn't matter.
What's your bonus?
I know it's not high enough. I only got a 12. I got a 18.
Nope. That will not do it. Go ahead and Jacob, give me a perception check. And Eurydice, you're at the window. Are you looking out the window?
Yes, subtly.
Okay. Subtly? Okay.
Yes.
So since you're trying to be a little bit sneaky about it, I'll need you to roll stealth.
Ha ha ha! My key comes in handy. Okay.
Ah, your key? You're
Yeah.
a monk?
No, my key, my infiltrator's key. It gives me advantage on stealth check.
I know, this one's being funny. It's like, you missed the previous jokes that was muted.
25.
Okay. Interesting.
13 on my perception check to be specific. Because I'm not trying to
What was that?
Oh,
What'd you get there, Jacob? I only heard 13. Okay.
Ditch them and let them know whoever was outside was not with us. We just don't know who they are with.
Jacob,
It's issues all the way around.
you looking through Hrim's eyes. You've lost track of where that figure went. It's almost as if they were there for 1 minute and then they were gone.
Okay.
Eurydice.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do.
You can still message them.
You
Oh, are
s-
you typing?
Nope. You see very, very briefly a figure that is very skinny and with weasel-like features to them. their ear pressed to the glass of one of the windows further down as you kind of peer out at an angle, and with them kind of peeking in, and then they turn and look directly at you, and then vanish into thin air.
Ah.
If only someone had counter spell.
I have
Counter
spell.
spell.
Can't see it. We're nowhere near it.
Wait,
Jacob.
hold on.
Okay. Hold it up.
Oh,
Fuck, I don't know it today.
Oh,
Damn. Hold on for nothing. Jacob is going to send a message to Tamir.
Like, tell him exactly it was a weasel outside, literally a weasel shifter.
There was, just very quickly, there's a weasel. He's watching. We're not sure which is which. We're just on the offensive as you are.
You hear back, and if you could hear over a mental connection, labored breath as if someone is running. That's the impression you get from this speech as he responds back to you. Did you say weasel? And now it's almost the rest of it almost as if he's not talking to you but thinking it. And not even meaning to send it to you. You hear the thoughts of shit. It's Bolts. He's found us. Fuck.
That's not good.
Please, wow. And do you say that's not good out loud?
No, that's in his head. Assuming Jeremiah can respond.
What are we doing? Are we going outside? Are we not going outside? Are we pretending to be stupid travelers? Or are we going to help them?
There's a lot of things if we put our skins out right now, it will expedite what is going to happen here. If we
Tell them to stop at one of their houses and bring something back. It'll make it look less suspicious to...
Jake was going to cast sending because he has no clue if they're close enough for it anymore.
Okay.
For a message because it's only 120 feet.
Yep.
He's going to send it to. He's going to send it back to Tamir, knowing that Tamir is kind of the smarter of the two.
Mm.
What side is Bolts on? And what can we do to help you? And he's going to end the sending message at that for now.
Okay.
He's not, for once, he's not using all 25 words. Trying to be fast.
He says,
They don't know.
I hope I'm not wrong in trusting you. Bolts is one of the Queen's special people.
Jacob is going to immediately turn, snap at Eurydice, and just point to the door.
He
Loose,
is
let me
gone.
loose.
She is looking for him.
Alright, what is this?
Diana...
He hasn't said anything aloud.
No. She'll see the snap. She's like, do I need to track him?
I'm literally putting you out there, but it's neat.
What can I do to help?
All they'll see,
I'm just sitting on my thumbs.
they'll only see my figure run around. They won't realize I'm shifted. Isn't the seeming? I'm going to transform into a fox because the seeming... You don't see a fox, you still see the human body.
Yep.
So, you still see the wolf shifter. I'm going to follow after Eurydice and purposely bump the bottom of your leg so you feel the fox body and tail against you. I want to purposely sniff for weasel, if I can, to try and help her track it.
Another dumb thing, because sending allows the person to respond within 25 words, is there any extra thoughts that Tamir is having that would go through?
Let's see.
After
You would-
saying,
you-
"I
yeah.
don't know you, but he is a part of the Queen's men.
You would also the last thoughts would be keep a low profile. Meet with Samuel. Ask your friend.
And I'm assuming that's where it ends. So after sending Eurydice and the rest out, are the lovely Reggie and his daughter currently around?
Reggie was actually occupied in the kitchen when Eurydice came in and made a polite mess of the kitchen environment with her weird concoction that he'd never seen but tasted, and has been just like furiously trying to copy it.
Oh,
And he's been in there most of the time. You've seen Vera a couple times as she did come and bring some food out and some drinks out for you guys, but then she was apparently sent off to do some other chores, and you guys were the only ones in the inn, in the tower.
What would I roll? Would that be an insight or to try and sniff out?
No, that would actually be survival.
You do survival.
You trying to track is survival.
Okay.
So anyone who's here's the thing. Here's the thing. So you can decide who is doing the tracking. Whoever it is, you can either each individually roll, or one person can roll with advantage.
I have a
But
plus
you know I'm with you in my fox form. You see the shifter wolf because of the seeming, but I did purposely bump into your legs so you know I'm shifted.
Yes, but how good is your survival stuff in...
I just rolled a 23.
Well, what's your bonus?
+4.
I have a +7.
Okay.
I mean, we could both individually roll and see from there.
Okay. Well, Eurydice is also going to cast Guidance on herself.
I will
Okay.
say Rogar is following.
Okay.
Rogar just doesn't have any.
And what about Razmith and Jacob?
Rasmus's still sitting in the bar because he's just watching all of this and has no idea what the fuck's going on.
You might want to call back the clunky boy.
I think Jacob is trying.
I sent my little penguin after Eurydice, and then he just kind of got stuck at the window.
Okay.
Oh, poor guy.
26.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll use yours.
Oh, I got an 8.
Oh no!
Okay. So,
Following them, okay?
all right. So,
You can track them.
still in the tavern.
Don't tell the owner, don't tell the tavern owner what happened here, because as far as we know, they were in the kitchen. As far as the person has any intel on, they were just in the kitchen. The daughter was doing her daily routine. So, if we have been found,
What's going on?
so there was a person that was sitting out watching over this. The two of them got pointing at the seats that Tamir and LJ were at. Got freaked out and went on a run. We learned that the weasel was a part of the Queen's entourage, so to say. And they said they don't know if we're worth trusting, but they said to eventually stay low and talk to Samuel at some point.
Hey, it's the shopkeeper I met.
Well, that's great news. He told me to tell you because you apparently knew. So,
He wanted me to meet him sometime tonight.
should wait. Go back to the shop later. He's going to cast something, and he's going to sit there and just kind of eye, but he's going to speak aloud. Sending it to Rogar. Rogar, do you think you can move stealthily? If not, you can just come make your way back this way so that we can be prepared for anyone that's going to come at us.
Oh yeah, I need to move stealthily, huh? So I need to roll stealth. I don't have good stealth.
And your fox.
Well, that's true. But it's
With the disadvantage on it.
would I get advantage for that?
Invisible. Rogar's not good at stealth, but Rogar does have the capability of instantly downing a person. Because what I'm thinking is, my plan was is to step outside and just cast hypnotic pattern, and then just down the poor guy.
Well,
But
it shifted.
yeah, I feel like Rogar will turn back since it's Jacob who's asking.
Okay.
It is Jacob asking.
All right.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, now,
Bye.
yeah. So now,
Look.
Rogar turns back. Now, with your 26, Diana and Eurydice, you come right to the spot where you saw him standing, Eurydice.
Yeah.
Right at the other window. And there are no tracks. And
Can I smell
nowhere.
him
And
now?
you smell Weasel here. Like, not really, I won't say it's not really Weasel. You smell the smell of someone was here and you're getting like Weasel undertones.
Please wonder.
But
Go where?
I'm sorry, Weasel.
you don't really, there doesn't seem to be like a trail.
Yeah.
It's like they were there and then they weren't. Not like they moved somewhere, like they were there and then they weren't.
Okay.
Oh, like teleporting.
Some type of net.
Yeah, we already know.
Oh, like a misty step.
Essentially. I didn't even know we have gotten caught yet.
But she knows there's a group of people in her.
Eurydice's just like,
Realizing it's not there.
Get a bunch of yips right now.
Well, while you're thinking, what were you going to say there, Eurydice?
Eurydice signals to Diana to follow her, and she goes back into the bar. And she says he magicked himself away.
He did magic himself away.
Right?
I say we use the
Diana
opportunity to cause as much trouble as possible and just have,
What languages do you all know?
Celestial.
I know what you
I just like to throw it out there that I know one language.
deep speech, Elvish, thieves can't undercommon.
Teach me, Rogar.
No.
I'm gonna, because I shifted back, I'm gonna step to you closely and speak in Thieves' Can't, so only you can hear me.
Yeah.
But can you give me an exact item you saw him wearing?
Can I give her an exact item I saw him wearing?
All you really saw was he was wearing, it looked to be some kind of hooded cloak. He was fairly covered up. I mean, it looked like any other kind of just black hooded cloak,
Yeah.
and it pretty much covered most of his features. And then, like when he turned his head and looked at you, I mean, it was just his face and then this cloak. You really didn't see anything unusual or any unique item that you could point out.
Eurydice just shakes her head sadly, just sorry.
Okay. There are two
If he
things.
teleported instantly, how far could he have gotten?
Depends on the spell. It can be as far as any way he wants to as close as 30 feet. Figured that your sense of smell would be the person looking at 30 feet's range. So
It depends on who he would let me out of 23.
that was Jacob's comment to Diana. So, there are two ways we can go about this. You wait here, don't do anything. We send two people out to whatever meeting. We send two people out to see if there's a meeting. We send out another person to follow in a way to see if there's anyone following them. Catch them off guard. Otherwise, we stay here, we don't do anything. We wait.
Can I suggest a third option that you're all going to yell at me for?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a lot
go
of
ahead.
guns, yes.
Relatively.
And a lot of
What
time
was that?
crunching out that somebody discovered us.
Kind of.
You're gonna tell me no. What? We know someone that we need more time from and can alter memories.
No.
We give him gems in exchange. We know he likes gold.
No.
Could alter his memory.
Oh,
Cool.
It gives us another week or so
No.
to figure things out, and then we erase the weasel's memory.
No.
Weasel's gonna be missing in action for this question. He's gonna be telling someone else at this point.
But if we erase his memory, by the time
No.
we become queen,
all I'm hearing is a no.
does she know who I'm referring to?
I know, we've...
We're talking about the demon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Rogar. Look, we only have, what, 5 days at most so far?
Relatively.
We need more time. We've already been discovered. We know there's already a resistance here, so we have people to work with. We just need the weasel, and we need one more week. All the gems that we got from the Dragon Horde should buy us the week and the memory erasing.
It's not worth it.
It's not like we're offering up another soul.
It's not worth it.
In reality, because we have been tested, technically we should speed up our timeline.
Yeah, let's just
But if
fucking
we have
cause
no memory
chaos.
erasing,
No, here's my
Well,
idea.
you lost him.
Can I share my idea?
Open table.
Thank you. Okay. Hold on. First, why don't we cast the hut and then put silence around the room?
Because he already knows we're here and already knows why. We're trying to get rid of the factor of him knowing.
Well, you already lost him, so where's...
No, it prevents anyone else from knowing what we're doing.
We're a group of random people who came in large numbers into a kingdom that is being held under control by God knows what the fuck she wants, and we just talked to two resistant fighters. How do you think that's going to look?
Okay, but we can still at least protect.
I will say, we're openly talking about this. If the weasel
Yeah.
did only teleport 30 feet away and just comes back, he's
Yeah.
hearing all of this.
Well, I
Exactly.
figured we were talking quietly. I'm just not actually talking quietly because, like,
But weren't you guys whispering
Well, yeah. We're,
in Thieves Camp? And he heard y'all?
now that we're at the table together talking.
yeah, it's more like we're talking to everyone.
And besides, we all know different languages to each other, so none of this has to be in common.
Okay, but that's still.
So to speak.
So
It's just
Okay.
a lot of relaying.
So to speak.
we can easily fix this language barrier problem if we cast Tiny Hut and then silence around the room.
Yeah, and silence won't affect the tiny hut.
You only
Yeah.
get silence.
Well, then none of us can talk. Yeah, silence mutes us. So if we're inside the tiny hut, we're unaffected by the magic of silence.
Oh, I thought silence muted us.
Desmond will have his...
Yeah, it literally mutes everything. Like, it mutes our vocals.
Does it?
So,
Would we not be able to hear us?
On lookout.
Yeah, we won't be able to. No one can hear in, and we can't speak at all.
But but with Tiny Hut cast, they just wouldn't be able to hear us. We would be able to speak.
Yeah, because tiny hut protects you from magic.
Okay, rather than talking at the table then,
Just fucking put Tiny Hut in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
Tiny hut table.
Reggie comes out and he sees, why is there a dome covering the table? What the?
Then that he realized, why can't I hear myself?
Yes.
I'm telling you guys.
Reggie wouldn't even notice it.
Until he walks into it.
Yeah.
If you
But
want to
I
walk
can
into it.
allow him to come in and out.
Oh, so
I have control over who can go in and out.
I just imagine he's gonna go towards the table and just.
Nope.
alright, well.
Well, actually, there would be no sound when he smacks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Silent.
no, I can control him coming in and out. So yeah, we want to put a clear tiny hut and then the silence.
Okay.
So that way, like Shelby pointed out, so all of this is just us.
Okay.
And at that point, Jacob's just speaking in common.
Yeah, and so Diana's.
And then now I will say my original idea of why don't we cause as much chaos in as many places as possible so her forces are spread so thin we can actually get our job done.
Because for 3 reasons. One, laws here work differently because there is no prisons. There was no prison system.
Well, okay,
So-
you don't know that there are prisons are not prisons now.
Yeah.
We could ask them. And
What I'm going
next time the barman comes to the table, she's gonna be like, "Are there prisons here? Do criminals get sent to prison?"
Why is this question?
Yeah, we have.
No, I don't think we've asked them yet.
No, you asked out of game,
Yeah.
not in game.
Wait, what Diana is trying to actually explain is the people who have always lived here know better than to just cause mindless law breaking or chaos. So it would be obvious who's doing it after they've just entered the city and now there's a bunch of problems all over the city.
Yeah. Well, we have a whole bunch of extra people.
Okay, then we make
who
our
aren't
base.
important.
We either keep moving constantly, or we have a super secret base no one knows about.
Another thing is, with that original idea of causing chaos, is that there is no guarantee that the Queen does not have a safe way to leave without anyone knowing. If we cause enough chaos around here, why would the Queen stay? It threatens her life, she would just leave.
No, then we keep it. Then we keep it at least to. We keep it smaller, and not necessarily.
Well, if she flees, I mean, she's abandoning her kingdom.
Yes, I'm aware.
And then we can easily take the
Just because she flees doesn't mean her men flee.
Yeah.
The issue is- So here's my thought process on a lot of things. It's not known. I'm assuming that the Weasel would probably give a general information and not such a tight-lipped detail, because it didn't seem like he was looking, more or just hearing. So if we can make it seem like only a few here are working with the Resistance, we'll only go after those few.
Eurydice does ask Barman about the prison question, though.
Okay. So are you stepping out of the tiny hut into the
Yes,
silence?
Eurydice will go ask him.
Okay, so you leave to go to the kitchen, which is outside the radius of the silence. And you find him in there, and he is just so it was
Hi.
these
I need
noodles, and then I take the cheese, I melt.
Eurydice snaps her fingers in front of his face, just like, yo.
Oh yes.
There's a bigger problem right now.
Okay.
How does the justice system work here? Are there prisons? Do you do all the classic reform thing? Or do criminals just... I need to settle an argument, okay?
Okay. Look, I know who you're with, so
Yeah.
I know I can trust you. But please keep it down.
I'm not good at subtle sometimes.
Well, you need to be. But what specifically do you want to know?
Are there prisons here? Do criminals get sent to prison?
Well, you don't really have criminals. we have those
Okay. then
who have
those
broken
folks
Queen's Law, and
Yes,
they
those
don't
have
seem to be around
gone out of
anymore.
line.
Yes, they just kind of disappear. Now,
Do you
I
know where they
think
might appear too?
there's been rumors
Okay.
of some new construction that happened about 10 years ago
Okay.
into the mountain, but no one's really allowed to go there except for the Queen's Special Guard. But the rumors are that those who are disappeared, that's where they end up.
Okay.
At least we hope that it's just that and nothing worse.
Yeah. So, you've done amazing. Thank you very much. Also, then she gives him really quick instructions on how she made the mac and cheese.
Yes, because he was gonna say, what did you use pepper, or I saw you use something. Was it pepper or salt or
pepper and a bunch of this, a bunch of that, and and then she's gone.
Okay. And then he starts getting it. He's still going. He's trying to come up with the perfect mac and cheese now.
Yeah. Eurydice slides back into her spot and she's like, okay. So apparently, if people get out of line along the Queen's stuff, she puts them in a spot and no one hears from them. So I'm thinking prison of sorts.
During that, Diana is
Also, there was
she's gonna tap the cup that she's had. She's gonna tap it a few times, and it's gonna slowly get faster and faster as she processes the information that there are now prisons here.
Also, it was constructed into the mountain, so I'm not sure if your mom decided to actually do more construction other than that, but
I believe that there might be more. There's probably a safe house somewhere deep inside the mountain now.
Can I get arrested so I can set people free?
Arrested. I arrest you. There you go. I think it's more of a you go missing thing, not a...
Yeah, no.
Paladins! Wait, this is a paladin's arrest.
Let me go missing. Let me see if there are people to be freed.
The reason there's more to this. One, whatever that thing was, knows to you, knows that you know what it is. I'm sure that if you went out and looked, it had some vantage point to see where you were looking from.
Okay.
Yes.
It was like right outside the
It
window.
knows what both of you look like, and will know to come for you two.
Okay.
So, Jacob is going to cast Seeming again.
Do you need to this late?
You have to switch. If I'm going to cast it again, I have to switch it.
What about everyone else's?
Eurydice, once this is done, she'll be like, okay, but we can use this to our advantage. We can use the fact that I know that that guy was looking in, and I can cause a little bit of trouble, get taken away, and see if there are people that I can actually help and get out of there.
So,
And maybe that will cause more, some instability, and get more people on our side.
in terms of seeming, the dumbasses, they're not in the range, so they just lose what they look like. Because they are up in the woods at this point,
Okay.
as far as impressive. Same as Galar
all fighting over the bed.
and and Antonio.
Yep.
They all look normal to themselves now.
And when they realize that, they'd be like, "Oh shit," and they would just kind of stay hidden in their rooms. Yeah. There's enough smarts in there somewhere that at least some of them, like Galar and Antonio, and even to an extent, like Orion. I mean, he's smart enough.
No, what's it like? The dumbasses may be idiots.
But they're not
stupid.
they're not stupid.
They're not
There's enough of a brain amongst
they're
everyone.
Not book smart, they're street smart.
Yep. And so they're like, wait, spell's gone. Oh shit. We better stay in here until we figure out what's going on.
I had asked Shelby about it, and apparently the way she describes it is they're kind of like an El Dorado stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. They're smart, but not.
Separately, they can all do their own individual tasks. You put
Yes.
them together, they get dumb.
They get dumb, but at the same time, they can also do some amazing shit.
By accident.
Yeah, mostly by accident, but still.
So, Diana now looks more of a red panda-like shifter. Azimuth needs to keep herself safe. Going to still be a bear shifter so that in a way he could go and recognize when he goes and speaks to them.
You can just make a medical call.
And he's going to be changing his,
No, just a different color as in.
yeah, he's changing the species of the bear. He's going to, instead of looking like a grizzly, he's now going to look like a polar bear.
Okay.
You don't make me a lion shifter, I will
Eurydice is going to look exactly the same.
Aw.
Rogar
Why does she look the same?
is going to be
So I can-
shifting forms. He's now going to be more of a.
I have a question.
Hold on.
Why does she look the same?
I'm not.
She has to get caught.
Hold on. I'm not finished.
Gotcha.
Goodness. There is a method behind this.
If the method's not explained, my brain doesn't connect.
Okay, all the time will be until it's done. Rogar is going to be shifted into more of a horse-like shifter,
Okay.
and Jacob is now going to assume the form that Diana just was, and look like the wolf.
But like a male version?
Nope.
Oh, exactly like I did? Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're doing.
No, titties now.
Big titties.
Hold on, give me a moment. Just gotta-
All right.
Alright, so. Eurydice, you may notice that everyone else looks different, and I now
Yes,
look what
yes.
Diana looked like.
I've noticed I'm not a lion shifter. I'm very upset.
So, you and I are gonna go out.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Because you can teleport her out.
You and I, well, now currently we.
Location than you. I have 500 feet.
Hey, I'm trying
You're
to.
pregnant.
Put it off. Your turn. Oh.
This is why you did the second moves.
Happens is that if you and I can go out, whatever thing was there knows that we know something.
Yeah.
Because it definitely saw your form, and I can only assume that when the two of you went out to look, it saw the two of you together. So, it leads me to believe that they're going to come to the two of us. Now, it's fine, because again, like you were saying earlier, we can play that to our advantage. It's fine to give them information-ish on letting them know a bit. So they know that there are some people in our group that want to be a part of this resistance. So far, they know of 2 that are actively trying to stop it.
Question for you. You're trying to possibly use this as a lure tactic?
Because you have this information,
If you're trying to take this as a lure tactic and they know to come here,
we need to change things.
well, I was actually going to put some glyph of warnings around.
Ooh.
So if somebody does show up, there you go.
Another thing that I was thinking of is we send the 2 of us out into the city
You can put my charms in your glyphs.
and allow us to be followed.
So if they trigger the glyphs, it'll charm them to make them just leave of their own volition.
Cool.
The only problem is they'll know they were charmed.
That's true. Which would cause an issue for the tavern. That's how I wanted to get. So, like I was kind of going.
Weird question. How high can a spell?
Second order in his spell scoring.
No.
No, the glyph of warding.
Glyph of warding is a bit.
I think it's if you cast it at a 4th level, you can put a 4th level spell in it. I think that's how that works.
That's me.
We're not spellers.
Spellulars. Spellulars.
Don't worry about it. He cannot cast it at 4th level.
I could put sleep in it.
Cool. knock them out.
Yeah.
And look at it this way: all we'll tell him is he asked to put up security because he's been worried about unneeded travelers entering his tavern without him knowing.
Okay, well, if that's the case, if everybody's okay with that, I'm gonna put up 3 in the next couple of hours.
Alright. So,
And I have enough spell slots for you to put that many.
now, what we can do,
They're very low level. Keep that in mind. So they're not gonna.
You
They're
can cast
probably only gonna knock one person out.
you can cast fire into them.
No, I can't. You know,
Yep.
he has to cast Glyph of Warning.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Spell that is going inside it.
Yep.
So if I want to put a 6th level sleep in it, he needs to be able
I'm
to
not
cast
telling you
it
to
at
do a
6th
6th
level.
level, but you can do it at third.
Yeah.
Third level?
What I'm
No.
saying is, it'll probably only knock out 1, maybe 2 people.
Does anybody else have any spells that might work?
Currently, I don't think any of the spells that I would have would help.
Because I can technically, I know you said no harm to come to them, but I
You
can
can make them harm each other.
automatically
Moving
do.
around them. So. It's dangerous.
That is
I could hypnotic pattern them.
Not bad either.
What level is that?
hypnotic.
Third level, yep.
I also have hypnotic pattern, but if you want to do hypnotic pattern, if you can help me store the glyph of warding.
No, it just hit me. It only lasts for 1 minute, though.
So
If
the
I'm
way
storing it in glyph of warding, it lasts indefinitely.
until it's
Yeah.
Well, no, but the spell itself, once it's triggered, only lasts a minute.
No, that's okay. It just needs to give people time to get away.
Oh, okay.
That's actually very useful. I think
So
putting that
what
in
if-
That's 3 of my
if
slots.
I'm not going to sleep just to try and take out the people who are still standing.
Okay.
Hypnotic pattern can capture the people that I haven't knocked out.
But for the sense, if we want to make this place the safe place for ourselves, I can cast 3 up today, rest up tonight. I can do 3 tomorrow,
right.
so I can technically do the bottom and the top floor.
Alright. Another thing that I was thinking of is because I do relatively agree with your ACs. If we know that there's a place that can keep people, we need someone to get in there because that might be help on finding more people who are like the ones that ran currently. Which is dangerous, but there's another task that I have for you as well, Rasmus. You know who you need to go talk to. Now look a little different, and you can.
Do you want me to go?
There are more people that can go.
But how long do we have to keep looking like,
Until I get my throne.
Well, until we're basically going on the offensive. Then we can look at us.
alright,
I need to hear the resistance fighters.
Alright, that's fine.
I'll talk to Samuel tonight, because
You need to go.
apparently I think that's what I signed up for.
Alright, so the two of you then heading out that way. Roga, I know that relatively don't enjoy sitting around currently, but I do think it would be worthwhile that while these glyphs are up, if you can be in the area so that if they do go off, you can capture whoever is here, if need be. I trust in your abilities of being able to do that. I can see you kill people much faster, so I'm pretty sure you could capture people just as much.
You're muted.
I haven't said anything. I went to go say something, I was like, I don't know if Ruger's good at capturing people.
Knocking them out, but you not need to
Okay.
damage them out.
Yeah, you can say you're knocking them out. But no, Diana will honestly, like, she'll look at Rogar and she goes, he's right. You are probably one of the only people that...
If need be, need to knock someone out in one go.
Yeah. What I know my divine sense, my smite, could that kill a person? Like, I can't control the fact if it's non-lethal if I'm smiting them.
So these
That's
guys-
the only way I
Okay.
can deal damage.
Okay, so technically, the way I run it in my games is if you declare that you are dealing non-lethal damage and you are wielding a deadly weapon, the weapon has to have some some kind of way to deal non-lethal damage. In other words, like I'm using the flat of my axe, or the flat of my blade, or maybe the pommel, and I'm smashing the pommel against them. Okay, but if you can, say, hey, I'm not stabbing this guy or slashing this. I'm like smacking him with the side of the blade or something like that. Basically, say I'm doing non-lethal damage. I allow it.
But what about magic? Because you guys, I'm
It's-
not a damage dealer without
yeah.
my magic.
That's another issue. Yeah, the weapon damage could be non-lethal. The
Yeah.
magic damage is not.
Yeah, I'm not a damage dealer with. I do 1d6, I think. 1d8.
If these glyphs do work,
Shouldn't
as
have
they
to do
tend
it.
to, you shouldn't have to damage them. It should be as simple as just tying them down.
Hey, question, does Orion know glyph of warning?
Let me check.
Yeah. Wait one.
Currently it says.
But he's also an artist, so you could know it.
Quick question. In your world, do you use the book version of how to tie people up, or is it just a sleight of hand? Because if it's sleight of hand
No.
intelligence, you guys, I'm not good. If it's just regular sleight of hand, I have a +3.
No, I would say it would be.
I'm built to
It
kill.
would be basically based on intelligence, because it is
Yeah.
it is the knowledge of how to make knots that people cannot undo.
Also have all the
Goodness.
I would have a +2. I would say.
Orion can know Glyph of Warning. He does not have it prepared though.
Yeah,
Now,
he does have it available. That's true.
That does bring up a great point. Although you're not going to be here by yourself, you do have the others that are upstairs.
Oh, true. Yeah, they can tie everyone, but I'll just instruct them.
Hmm.
That I'm good
There you
at.
go. You can direct.
Yeah.
Jacob is going
Good
to
leader.
I'm going to go.
look towards Rasmuth and Diana. So, you know that it's supposed to be around midnight.
Yeah.
You need to leave relatively before then.
Which means I need to start doing these awards now. You said
Which means
he has it prepared.
Which means he can use them tomorrow.
He doesn't
Yep.
have them.
So tomorrow he can do the
So
awards that
tomorrow
you can.
you can help with that.
Which means we have 6 instead of just 3.
Roa, if you're okay with helping me set up these grip of wardings, it's going to take about 3 hours.
I would say put hypnotic pattern at the front door and the back door, and then we'll put a glyph of sleep at the stairs.
Alright.
Okay.
Jacob's gonna look at your
At the bottom of the stairs, so nobody falls and breaks their neck.
Jacob's gonna look at your indices. So, they have to spend time setting these up. Our time is kind of the essence. If we go now,
Yeah, we get arrested.
yes, that's
Can I just request something from the 2 of you?
Don't kill anyone.
Don't kill anyone, don't light anything on fire, and don't hurt anyone.
well. The only fire thing that I can do is he does a firebolt into his hand. He doesn't cast it and throw it.
Yeah.
He just holds it and it just fizzles out.
The point being,
Only fire thing
No
I can do
property
is carry
damage.
fire.
no physical damage.
Am I good to do damage in prison? Because it is not something that should be.
Yeah, all I was thinking we do is just talk very loudly about the current scene.
One problem with that,
Is yes, I'm aware that it is inside of a mountain and could collapse the entire thing.
which then destroys the entire kingdom. If it causes a big enough rock slide.
Yeah, it just depends on which area. So,
So, are we ready to go talk shit
No.
about the queen?
I'm not going to destroy things. I don't plan on destroying things.
Are we ready to go talk shit about the queen?
Oh, I feel so sorry for that guy. It's not going to help him in any way. He's going to snap and use his minor conjuration. Not that the gold had already been gone by that point.
Yeah. That's why I put extra.
Rasmus, did you see anything on that shopkeeper that seemed like would be a kind of almost resistance bringing flag or anything of the sort? If not, don't worry about it. I will just make a random symbol.
Not that I recall. He was very in your face, trying to ask what's going on. At first, I thought he was trying to be aggressive, but then I kind of figured out he wasn't. It was very odd.
Alright.
I'll ask if he has some kind of insignia or something.
Well, that's fine. It was kind of the more but now neat thing, but that is okay. And he's going to press his hands together, and from the middle of it, a kind of almost handkerchief-like.
I know what somebody could use. I will pull out the family insignia that is connected to her father and herself, not the queen. And she'll show it to Jacob and go, that's the royal family crest. The proper crest.
Right. And in his hand, he is going to make a large enough belt sash and tie it around him, where the insignia is kind of hanging off one of the loose threads that he is not tying tightly and not trying to hide.
If anybody asks why you have it, say to honor the
The real Eris.
not Eris. That'll let her know I'm here. Just say to honor the true bloodline.
Rogar will look to Rasmuth. I know the spell out of character. Rogar doesn't know the spell in character. Could you explain how Glyph of Warding work? And you don't have to explain it. I know. And we can just breeze over that. Yeah. So blah 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 blah.
Boomhauer.
The only issue I'm seeing is the trigger. If anyone opens the door, it'll trigger the effect.
So,
I told the tavern owner.
Because if we specify to one person, then that one person opens the door.
It is only fair of him to be able to protect his
I was going to say, can trigger it if there's a multitude of people in that area.
Okay.
If you get to the stairs, one person will set it off. Just one.
Okay. So the only other issue I might have.
More than two at a time, that's when the trigger can set off.
Yeah. The only issue is where are we putting the last hypnotic pattern?
So we're putting the first hypnotic pattern at the front door,
Okay.
and that one will be a trigger of 3 or more.
Okay.
That way, if like guards are rushing in,
Yeah.
we're not gonna rush in at once. And then anyone in the back one will be 2 or more.
Okay.
And then the sleep one will be at the bottom of the stairs. Do you know sleep? Who knows sleep?
Diana knows sleep.
Eurydice's no sleep as well.
Okay, so you got two people that know sleep.
Yeah. We need to ensure.
So I'm going to instruct a group that if we're going to be passing by these things, you guys need to be at least 10 feet apart.
You can control who it affects.
You need to trigger it.
This is just a little trigger.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was nervous. It's like if a random fucking 2 people walk up and they're like, "Hey, let's go to the bar today. Let's go risky."
Or like Reggie and his daughter Vera, you know,
Yeah.
in their own bar and inn.
I'm going to set a password for everybody
There you go.
so that it won't harm you if you walk by it.
And you can tell Reggie and Vera.
I look like you right now, so.
Platypus. Make it platypus.
So, as soon as I talk about it.
As soon as I go in there
Why not?
to talk to
Fuck it,
them.
platypus it is.
Okay.
So the other thing I must say, if we are casting sleep, so we have to make sure Reggie and Vera are nowhere near.
Okay.
Because Rogar would explain in the world terms, but in non-world terms, it targets people with the lowest hit points.
Jacob will kind of respond into, well, the issue then comes up that I'm most likely already going to be asleep if it's going to happen at night.
Oh, true, yeah.
So,
I'm just nervous because, like, if most of the spells are on the outside of the doors, people on the inside of the building are fine because they won't be affected by hypnotic pattern.
Well, one thing I can technically do is once Orion is able to help me tomorrow, one of the glyphs of warding, instead of me doing hypnotic pattern towards the front of the door, I have web. But technically, there's a web there, and it can ensnare up to, it's a 60 foot, it's a 20 foot cube. It has a range of 60 feet. It's just a massive, thick, sticky webbing that will just shoot out and try to capture who's ever in it.
You know.
So that could also be a non-lethal way to ensnare somebody if they break into something.
So I just have one question. Just one question. So what about you know, Jimmy and Bobby and Steve coming in for lunch?
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like there's so many like probabilities that we can't account for.
Variables.
Currently,
Yeah,
I was about to say. No, I just heard you. The issue is, I think we can have this set up for the night. I don't think this is a permanent solution. This tries to come out at night. If you can dispel it every day, we go from there. Yeah.
That's why we do it in front of the rooms.
We're doing it at night. We want to make sure the entrances are good, so that they don't get in any closer. And we have.
But we can keep it up around the rooms all the time.
Yes, we can do the room around any time during the day.
The rooms, definitely, we are going to set up protection around the rooms. This is just to protect the building itself currently.
Yeah. That's like it's a temporary thing.
Continue.
Am I shaking it too much?
No, he keeps bouncing.
Oh.
He's the one who's literally putting his hands in. That's why it's shaking.
Yeah, that's me. We could technically try to use web, but this is the end, so.
Orion knows web as well, but yes, fair game.
You can do it super. You can have the triggers be insanely specific. So.
I need to know. I need to understand the. People wear.
Did we notice if the guards all use the same weapon?
No, you saw a variety.
Do
they all have a similar weapon on them?
Hands on their armor.
Oh yeah. Do they have weapons like hands?
From what you could tell, the like when Tamir came out in his guard uniform when you first met him at the gate, it did seem like there was some kind of symbol on the armor. And in fact, Diana, you know that it looked a lot like your family crest, but modified.
I knew she would have changed it.
Well, I can only do this for an hour, so Ulysses let us go.
Yeah.
But bringing attention away from this building and towards us.
All else fails, just pick a drunken fight in the street.
That's not too difficult, right, Ulysses?
What?
Just start screaming at her for sleeping with my husband.
No, why don't we just start screaming about, or just kind of start very inconspicuously, wink wink, talking about rebellion.
That might actually draw too much attention to the actual rebellion.
That is the reason that I have this, and he's going to kind of flick out the sash there that has the insignia of. That is supposed to be the thing that's drawing in the most attention. The rest that we do is just minor inconvenient stuff for them.
Oh, I'm then sure to sleep with the whatever thing.
No, I don't care about doing that. We can literally go and fight someone else. It does not matter. But you get what I'm saying, is that it's more just doing a minor disturbance to get whoever we need to look and then notice the thing that
Can I
they
pretend
need.
to rob you?
Good.
Why don't you just complain about the queen? Go out.
Yeah, just complain about her, like not necessarily resistance, just be like, hey, this sucks. Why do we have to pay 10% of whatever to...
I mean, like I said, we can just go to gods.
And what kind of a queen lets her city seem so dead?
Yeah.
There's a lot that we can do, so let's get going.
DM question.
Don't forget the password.
DM answer.
Not that up yet.
Yeah, but the password.
How how does Glyph of Warding work with the concentration spell?
Very good question.
Yeah, because Hypnotic Pattern is concentration. If they
Yeah.
trigger both at the same time, I'm gonna lose concentration on one of them. If it's otherwise on me.
Mm-hmm.
How does
So the way I understood Glyph of Warning is once it's inside the glyph,
Hang
it's
on,
there.
I'm checking because it actually talks
Yeah.
about magic.
You know what I'm gonna rule is until I have a chance to dig into it further and verify this, and it may not come up this game, so I might have a chance. But if it does come up this session, what I'm gonna rule is that its hypnotic pattern is concentration up to 1 minute. I'm gonna rule that if it's in the Glyph of Warding and gets triggered that way, it just lasts 1 minute.
Oh,
So it does
okay, so it's right here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
so-
requires-
And yes, they're talking. Yes, that you are right there, Asbolg. They're talking about having multiple glyphs of warding and putting a spell in each. So yes,
So it's not
each one would have a different spell, or maybe the same spell but just in multiple glyphs.
Yeah, because the person who casted the spell doesn't need to maintain concentration. The glyph itself maintains the concentration.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's right here at the very end.
Okay, there you go. See,
It requires-
so my ruling works exactly like it's supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just got nervous for a split second. I was like, "Oh shit, wait."
yeah, because
Alright.
it says the spell lasts its full duration.
Yep.
Yeah.
So concentration up to a minute means it would last a minute. All right. So, what are you guys doing? It is starting to get into the evening time here. By the way, here, because you guys have been eating and discussing for quite a while and kind of planning about things. So it's starting to get into the evening time.
Let's go cause some
I'm gonna start on
chaos.
the runes. Rogar, I just need you for the moment to cast it, and then you can go.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Jacob and Eurydice head out before spells are cast.
Okay. So, real quick question for Rasmuth. So, you're going to cast 3 glyphs tonight. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. They each take an hour to cast, so that's going to take up the next 3 hours. And by the time you and Rogar are done with that, it'll probably be, I'm going to say, like 8 o'clock at night.
That's what I was hoping for.
Okay.
Um,
So, right now it's about 5. So, like I said, it's starting to get into the evening.
With Rogar's help, as soon as he describes the room, I'm gonna describe the first rune just at the bottom right of the door, looking on the inside. It's gonna be facing on the inside of the room, and it's just gonna be a nice infinity knot.
Okay.
Oh wait. So the spell is going to be inside the building then, not on the outside.
It'll be on the inside.
Okay, then I can't be in there either because the spell will have an effect on me.
Oh well, shit.
Yeah, it'll it's a 30-foot cube. So I mean, if I sit in the middle of the room, I'll be okay. Yeah, that's why I was like, So yeah, if it's on the inside of the door, I know how far my spell works. I use the spell a lot, so I know to stay far away enough that I won't trigger it.
what you can do is have it on the bottom right corner of the door, so if the door opens, without saying the password first, it'll send the spell this way outside to
Okay.
everyone who is standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
That's fair
I
enough.
don't want to risk someone randomly being like, I'm in within range and like, oh, I see my hypnotic pattern, I'm down.
This is my favorite tavern.
Yep, pretty much.
That's a pretty symbol in the sky.
So, now, I do have a question. Is anyone telling Reggie what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Reggie, and I will go over to Reggie to get his
Okay.
attention. Like, Reggie, I need to talk to you.
Yes. What can I do to help?
I have an idea.
Very well. I'm a panda now.
Yes. That's true. You guys did change appearance. So, he sees you approach, And Jacob, are you still in the inn at this time?
Like I said, as soon as spells were starting to be cast, he had
Okay,
left.
so you and Eurydice took off. Okay, so he sees you and he's like, yes. How can I help you? Would you like a seat? Are you here for dinner tonight? I've got this great thing on the menu. Yes. Yeah. Have I met you?
Yes.
Sorry, miss. I don't recall.
Reggie, I talked to you earlier today and almost made you cry.
I don't know what I would be crying about. I'm sorry, miss. I really don't recognize you.
I was a different canine.
You're, a what?
Reggie, focus. Look at me.
Oh.
Who else do you know that would talk to
Oh!
you?
Boom! Right on his knees, hand on his, across his chest. He's like, it bows his head a little bit. I am sorry, your highness. I did not know.
Reggie, first, you gotta stop with this, because if anybody sees you do it, that alone is a problem. That's
Yeah, I, sorry. And he gets up.
You and I, same level, same family,
Okay.
same race.
Okay,
We're equal.
okay. Yeah, what can I do for you?
Listen to me very carefully, and you're gonna need to talk to Vera. If you
Okay.
go outside, you need to say the word platypus before you leave. We're putting up security systems at the front door and back door and stairwell. So that way, if anybody comes looking for the new group of travelers wondering why they're in the kingdom, get fair warning. Nothing is lethal, nothing will do damage to your building.
Okay.
No.
Should I have Vera sit outside so that patrons know this word, or do we
Yes.
post a sign?
What you're gonna do is you're gonna tell them, before you go inside, I need you to explain to me what today's special is. If you don't remember it, I mean, remind you that it's platypus ale.
So any patrons that want to come in, I need to have. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, of course, anything for you.
Just make sure the people you do let into the tavern
Okay.
are not part of the queen's entourage.
I wouldn't assume any would be done this way.
So essentially, only let your frequents in tonight.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. I'll get Vera on this right away. Vera!
I would have let
What? Get down here. I've got a special job for you tonight. And then he kind of runs off, and they go have a little conversation.
Rogar would have informed to tell Diana to tell Reggie that if you're doing this, she needs to at least be 35 feet away from the door.
You know what? I would have.
So that she's not hit by the spell as well.
Okay.
We don't need to do these too many of these little warnings. I can just cast Arcane Lock. Oh wait, no, it doesn't last for very long.
I
No.
think it's until dispelled.
Fine.
Or if you have the knock spell.
Oh, true, yeah. They do know magic, I guess.
We know they know magic. Or at least it seems like they know magic.
It lasts until you dispel it.
Yeah.
Arcane Lock is, it's a good spell.
It lasts until dispelled.
Oh good. Never mind then.
Yeah, we can lock the back door, and then it'll give me an extra
Put
spell
Arcane Lock
slot.
on the back door. And any windows if
I would
there
say
are
keep it on
sliding
the
ones.
door.
But we can still keep those glyphs on the front door.
Yeah.
You don't want to make it seem like that they know we know something.
Yeah.
At least
Other than the two people that are.
we know for a fact they can't get through the back door.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's harder.
Multiple things.
Yeah, so what we'll do is instead, like she explained, there's only the one on the front door. Just make sure only let your regular customers in, and if you know it's a regular customer, tell them the word before they open the door.
Okay.
35 feet away.
Yep. And he understands that, and he explains to Vera what the deal is, and she doesn't look happy about it as she puts on a very, very heavy fur coat, grabs a stool, and goes to sit outside.
Diana, she'll follow Vera outside to talk to her for a moment, and she'll look at, she'll just kind of like crouch next to Vera, and she's like, look, I know it's annoying, but trust me when I say, yeah, this is very, very important.
Okay.
And Diana will, she'll speak so softly that only Vera can hear her.
Okay.
And she'll be like, we're trying to protect you, so let us protect you, okay?
She nods her head. You know, she seems to understand.
So, and if you get too cold, whiskey will warm you up. That is a joke, by the way.
I mean,
She
I
can drink.
wouldn't mind some.
How about this? You do this correctly, and keep your nose clean.
She's got a problem, y'all.
Get your dad to give you a little something.
Keep her nose clean, okay? So she like licks the side of her hand and then rubs it on her nose like a cat. No, I'm just joking.
But yeah, she's like, you do this correctly, and you keep your nose clean. I'll see if I can get your dad to have something better to warm you up.
Okay. So now while that's all going on, Eurydice and Jacob, or should I say, Leopard Shifter and Diana Pseudo Wolf lookalike Shifter. What are you guys doing?
So, Jacob is not good at performing. He's gonna walk his normal stride, which looks awkward.
Okay.
That does not look right on my body.
Not look right on my body. He is still walking kind of in his
Square male-esque.
little hunch forward.
But you have to remember, Diana keeps her shoulders back and her hips sway a lot as she walks because of her tail and
Easy,
know?
I can do that.
He like does it for a moment, but you realize that he's just like
Yeah, Eurydice's just whacks him on his arm and is just like, stop.
Just no, just don't.
Eurydice's into me and you into Eurydice.
not really the best at that. Anyways, so we're the best at this shit. So how do we stop?
Well, I say we go to a place with more likely to be frequented by the Queen's Guards.
I don't. What do you know where the marketplace could be at this place? Go there. Just talk about the shit.
You know what? I think she's got enough spies that we can just kind of walk around town, say a few things, and get caught.
Okay. No, Jacob's going to make sure Brim is high in the sky.
Okay.
Not like out of his range to see, but high enough that there shouldn't be a reason that people are looking up at it.
Right. I understand.
He's going to try to see if he can see a guard.
Okay. Roll a perception check.
13.
Okay. It takes you about 20 minutes as Grim, because he's not super high up. He's got a decent vantage point, but you are also on the side of a mountain, so
Yeah.
and if he's trying to stay low enough to be with you, there's still a mountain that goes up above him. So he doesn't have a huge view of everything.
Right.
So it takes about 20 minutes or so, but eventually you catch a glimpse of what looks like 3 guards just kind of wandering the streets together. Looks like they're on a patrol of some kind. You can tell they're guards even from this distance because of Hrim's sharp eyes and the fact that you can clearly see one of them is holding like a big glaive that he's kind of using almost like a walking stick as he's walking, and that you see, armor on this person and very similar looking armor on the other 2. One of them with looks like a large axe strapped to their back, and the other with a sword on their hip.
All right. Are they like in the direction that Jacob's looking? Are they heading that way?
It looks like they are actually kind of making a round on a street that's, if you would equate it to city blocks, they're probably about 2 to 3 blocks up, and they would be going perpendicular to your direction.
Is there any people that are just like close by?
Every once in a while you see some random people walking, but for the most part the streets are very empty. It's you don't see a lot of people out and about. And most people you do see, they're bundled up in, some heavy winter clothes, and they seem to either be going somewhere quickly and to get inside, or coming out of someplace quickly and to head somewhere to go somewhere else quickly and get inside.
Jay will kind of like tap Ulysses to point at one of the people that are like making their way inside and say, "You go talk to that one and try to just do random bullshit on taxes and queen hatred stuff."
Well, why don't we just talk to each other?
Yeah.
Not so necessarily quietly. And
You don't involve civilians.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's utter bullshit that there's even a tax system to get into a city. I mean,
oh yeah, no, it's total bullshit.
expected like maybe paying, I don't know, gold to go through a gate, but
Yeah.
telling 10% of everything that you earn.
Oh yeah, no, that's absurd. I mean, the 50 gold tax in Paneum was absurd, but this is just
One of the close by people that as you're walking and talking, one of them, they had just come out of a door and they were coming out, and they started to walk a little bit, and then all of a sudden they kind of turn right back around and go right back inside their door and close and like slam the door shut.
Jacob is going to subtly lead both Eurydice and himself in the direction that he saw are making the rounds
Okay.
as they continue talking.
All right. And give me a straight intelligence check, Jacob.
Oh boy, something I'm good at. That's fine. 17.
17. Okay. You figure if you guys keep at your current pace and maybe kind of shift yourself, go like turn and go up one more street level and then turn back in the same direction you're going, that at your current pace, you'll probably run into the guards in about, or get close by them in about 15 minutes of walking.
Alright, Jacob will just kind of relay that to Eurydice. So this is what we're going to do. This is the walking path. Yeah, but like the queen is just like you would expect that you'd be kinder to more shifters, especially coming to meet your grand city.
oh yeah, and like not to mention, you're a royalty as you are a servant to the people. So why does this place look horrible? Wouldn't
Right.
you want to put at least some of that 10% of that taxes
Okay.
that has been collected at the gate into the city?
Another person who is coming your direction, you see them immediately turn down like a side street.
It's not
And-
as bad as, like, man, have you ever seen... We talked about Paneum. Paneum looked better than this.
Oh yeah, Paneum looked way better.
And now, at this point, someone else you see, they are draped in heavy furs. It looks like they are about to open a door. They're carrying some kind of bags of stuff. They're about to open a door and walk in. See them pause for a second. They close the door. They set their bags down. They turn and they walk straight over to you. And they look at you and they say, I don't know who you are, but keep your voice down. You're going to get yourselves in trouble. Just
What do you mean? I don't see why is it such a bother to talk about how awful this place has become.
look, if you're not going to take my advice, fine. But don't say you haven't been warned. And he turns back around.
You really sees before he turns around, we'll wink at him. It's like, we know what we're doing, kind of wink.
And he goes, I wish you luck. And he turns and leaves, and he grabs his bags by the door, opens it, goes in, slams the door.
I mean, what's very interesting is just like we're letting a feline rule. I mean, I thought this grand city was ruled by canines, the loyal, not the ones that are filled with filth, step away, and are all about themselves.
Yeah.
As you're saying this to someone who's looking like a leopard shifter, I love
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just like, you've got a point. We do deceive a lot of people.
And
we are slippery.
And about this time, you, thanks to the overhead view of Hrim, and Jacob timing their pacing just right, you're coming up to an intersection, and from your left, coming up one way in that intersection, you see some guards just come around the corner, and I mean, you were clearly speaking loud enough and within earshot before you were each visible to each other.
Yep. And he will say even louder, knowing that they are getting closer. I mean, at this point, they shouldn't even have a queen. Why don't they rule themselves?
Yeah, let's make
Hey!
democracy.
Hey! You there! Hold it right there!
Freedom of speech. You're gonna oppress the people.
Alright, got...
I do
No.
Eurydice did not say Viva la Revolution.
Two... The guy in the middle is the one speaking. The other two, he looks at them and he goes, "Get him!" And they both like form tackle you to the ground.
And Eurydice is like, "You'll never take me alive."
Jacob to feign a fight. He's going to let's see. He's going to cast.
Remember, not lethal.
He's going to cast. Yeah, he's going to cast Dragon's Breath on himself. He's going to tap his shoulder, and they will be able to see the swirling magic energy of something going in basically electrical charge sitting at the sides of his jaws as it prepares to do a lightning dragon breath.
And as
gonna use thaumaturgy on herself to make her voice louder, and she's just gonna scream, "Help! Help! The Queen's Guard are arresting me!"
And
Please.
when you do that, the guard in the middle goes, "Shit, casters," and he says, "Do it. I need. Are you guys going to resist?"
No.
Okay. So if you guys are not
I mean,
resisting,
I'm gonna make it look like I'm
Okay.
resisting, but I'm not.
but you're not.
Yeah.
You find both of you are prone on the ground with fairly large, armored, heavy shifters on top of you, and they quickly, you find yourselves rolled over onto your stomachs, your arms quickly yanked around behind your back, and then you hear and feel the clink of manacles going around your wrists. And both of you, I need you to roll will saving throws.
Will saving throws.
Oh shit, I know what they're doing.
Saving your mind.
So wisdom saves.
Yes, wisdom save. Sorry, I was playing 3.5 this weekend, so
15.
okay. Oh, careful! You guys all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fine.
I thought it was an open bottle.
Party foul.
22. Yes,
Okay.
22.
So, Eurydice, you feel your wrists like burn with an electrical energy for just a moment, and that thaumaturgy you had cast and that energy just seems to like fade away.
Okay, well she's still just like, you'll never silence me. Freedom of speech.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh
People will
shit.
not be silenced.
And Jacob, you feel that same energy go through your wrists, and I need you to give me a perception check.
Alright.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say, actually, you can do an Arcana on this, Jacob.
Ooh, okay. Can you go to my Arcana? That's fucking amazing.
Oh nice.
So that is a 19 plus 13.
Holy shit! Okay, so you know exactly what this is. You've read up on shit like this. You know that these are manacles that bind a caster so that they cannot cast, and you feel that energy, but you know that your will is stronger.
Jacob will then feign and let the dragon's breath fizzle out.
Okay. You hear the lead guard, the one that just seemed to be directing things, say, "You got him?" And hear back, "Yep, locked. Good. Now shut that one up. Put a gag in her mouth or something."
I will not be
Okay.
silenced.
And then
No,
you
will
two,
not be silenced.
oh, puppy. Okay.
No.
Then both of you are picked up, basically thrown over a shoulder of one of these other guards, and you are carried away. And as you are basically walked down the street on the shoulders of these guards,
Grim will follow
Every-
next to-
every window that you see, any of them that the shutters are open, as you walk past, you notice several of those shutters slamming shut. Anybody on the street seeing it immediately ducks inside or down a side street. Nobody seems to want to walk out and see what's going on.
Cheese gag.
Oh,
Yep.
it's Jacob gagged.
You're both she's gagged. You're not because you weren't screaming.
I'm still screaming through the gag.
Yeah, so you're making noise, but it's muted some.
Jacob was just gonna be, this is outrageous, there's no reason for Crown's God to be attacking people who just are coming to visit a city. No queen should ever...
You shut your yap or I'll gag you too.
Give me a moment as I have to roll something.
Okay.
Jacob listens.
Okay. The dice spoke, apparently.
Oh shit. Why'd you roll 2 20s for that?
Who's finished?
Alright.
Because this is actively something that, rather than it being like...
Why'd you roll 20s for that?
Roll these 20s because it's basically like a saving throw, but I just
Yeah.
roll.
Oh, because I rolled a 10.
So now, as the evening wears on, currently, Diana is most likely, I assume, telling the rest of the traveling companions what's going on, informing them, kind of organizing some things there. Rogar and Razmith are hard at work with the making sure that the place is secure.
I will
Using
say, once Lee has learned that Eurydice has gotten herself arrested, has this sigh and is like, Of course she did.
Yep, that sounds like Lee. That definitely sounds like Lee. But yeah, that Rogar and Razmith, you're using a combination of magic and teamwork and everything to try to fortify and secure the Salty Fish Tavern. And there are some regulars coming in and out, but it seems like Vera is doing a very good job. No, so far, no one that has come in has set off the glyph of warding, so that's probably a pretty good thing. Everyone seems to be enjoying meals, and eventually it is. You guys finish things up, and it is about 8 o'clock at night. At about that same time, after what seems like a very, very, very long time of walking, bouncing on the shoulders of these guards, Jacob and Eurydice, you see yourselves taken into this cave in the side of the mountain that is kind of hidden off of a street, kind of on the edge of the city a little bit, and on the outskirts.
With her perception, notice any distinctable things that where she would be able to tell this is where that this would be if she needed to find it again.
Yes, I mean it's clearly there's a cave entrance there, but it's just seeing that entrance. It is in kind of an out of the way, around the side of a building, and then between that and where the city wall is on that side. And there's no good vantage point to see it unless you know it's there and go right to it.
Okay.
So, once you go there, you know. Okay. But there is another 2 guards kind of standing just inside the mouth of that cave entrance.
Okay. And is in the process of following, but as they get towards the cave, are the guards looking up? Are they just looking straight at the people coming in?
Entrance.
The entrance is approximately 10 feet across.
Okay.
It's enough that the 2 guards standing in there, if you want to think of it in grid format, each of them has their own 5-foot square. Okay, in the mouth of this cave, and it's about it's not a square entrance, but it's about 10 by 10. If you want to put it in square dimensions.
All right. Is it possible for Bryn to get in there without being seen? As currently the commotion is on the people that are walking in.
If he wanted to try, you would have to roll stealth for him and hope that their perception doesn't beat it.
Alright, and you know as I go and look at Bryn's stealth stat, I don't remember what it was.
Wait, what happened?
Hey, Bryn, please tell
He
me.
is an owl. He should have decent stealth, actually.
Yeah, no. It's something.
What is it? That's not much.
I mean, that's better than anything else. It's better than the
It's better than mine.
Just do something.
-1. Horses are still really annoying.
But now you're a horse-like shifter, so you're even right.
Oh yeah.
And you have a horse.
And yeah, it's all coming up, Rogar.
I'm not giving us stealth.
Horse is a +3 to stealth, and I have a fucking -1.
Okay, Bryn is going to kind of circle for a moment above and look like he's going to dart down, and Jacob is going to mentally tell Bryn to just make his way back to the tavern.
Okay. So Rim makes his way back. So you said Jeremiah. Are you trying to talk to Jeremiah?
It was more of a if Jeremiah wanted to put his own 2 cents into what Jacob was saying mentally of just basically, no, friend, I understand that you want to come with me, and I know that this isn't my good area to be, but get back to the others and say it that way.
And
Please
you
say
get
something.
you get the feeling from him. He's kind of like, I don't like this one bit. How?
I don't like it.
Fine. I shall return, but only because you asked.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, poor boy.
And
Smash them.
then you hear, then Rim takes off, and then you hear in your head Jeremiah. He says, "Ah, familiars, loyal to a fault.
Yeah. And say those
I
things.
actually remember. Yes, I did have a familiar.
It's nice. Good to know. It will get you to a point that you can summon him again.
I hope so."
Hi, sir. Hi, sir.
Alright, so you get the both of you then are basically carried into this cave as the guards that are standing in the just inside the entrance of the cave, they kind of step out and greet the other guards. The main one out of the group of 3 that captured you speaks to them briefly and explains, yeah, we caught these 2 idiots. You know, I mean, it was blatant. I mean, how dumb you gotta be. And they kind of share a little bit of a laugh and everything. And, yeah, go ahead.
It's not dumb, they're already captured. It could get them into a further spot. So Jacob is going to
She's gonna think that real.
move his hand in the manacle as if he is trying to reach at the cloth that he created.
Okay.
He's trying to-
Nope, they've carried you on their, like, a fireman's carrier over their shoulder the whole time.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay. So you're trying to grab at that sash. And so you're kind of squirming and wiggling around. And the one that's got you is fairly large, man. He's like, quit moving around. And then he said, wait. Hey. What the hell is this?
And the sash would fall freely off if he so chooses to grab
Yep. And he grabs it and he yanks it off.
it.
And he goes, Captain, look at this. And the one who's been speaking the most of the time grabs it, looks at it, and he goes, bloody hell. May have caught ourselves a prize this time, boys. Hey, let's go.
Different colors with
So they then carry you into this tunnel, which is very dark as you first come in out of what's left of the light of the day. Not very much, as it is getting pretty late. But it's very dark in the tunnel until you get in a little bit further, and then torchlight, you start to be able to see it. Well, at least Eurydice, you do. You start to be able to see this torchlight. And they walk for several minutes before you come out into a larger cavern. And in that cavern, there are some bunks along the walls, and you see several more guards. Some seem to be sleeping in a couple of the bunks. Some are sitting down at some tables that are there, eating some food, or a couple are playing cards.
Eurydice has quieted down. She's not speaking, but she is glaring
Okay.
murderously at everyone.
And then, after walking past all this, you get to the other side of this open chamber, and there is a steel grate type door that has been built into the stone itself. And there is a guard standing in front of it, and as it approaches, the one that has been called Captain approaches and says, "We got a couple new ones. We might have actually got ourselves something good here." He's like, "All right, you know the drill. Fill out the forms, book them, and then we can let them through." He's like, "Fine." He goes. You guys are dropped unceremoniously against the wall. And as you sit there and look, Eurydice, you can see that there's basically the two that were carrying you. They're now just kind of standing, looking over you and keeping an eye on you guys. And the one, the captain, walks down a little ways, goes to what seems to be some kind of impromptu set-up desk area, almost like a mini office. Desk, some shelving and things like that. Grabs some paperwork off one of the shelves, and he begins writing stuff down.
Did they put us down? My internet cut out for a second.
Yes, you got basically dumped down kind of against the wall with unceremoniously. It was just like a thump. I mean, it wasn't pleasant.
Are they still right next to us?
Yes, the two guards that were carrying you, they're basically standing right in front of you, watching you, while the captain is filling out paperwork.
Just in case, can Eurydice grab her, like, very stealthily, whatever, so that, make sure they don't see. Can she grab her infiltrator's key and hide it?
Your arms are behind your back.
Your man.
Don't take it, just in case they do take it.
Give me, I'm going to say, you're going to have to make 2 rolls here. A sleight of hand and an acrobatics.
Ooh, okay.
Acrobatics.
He's perfect.
Dirty 20 for the acrobatics.
Okay.
Nice.
And you said sleight of hand?
Yep.
28.
Okay. You sneaky bastard. All right. So, yeah, the acrobatics was to see if you could actually get your hands into a position enough to get to the pouch or whatever, or pocket or whatever it is that you have the key in.
Yeah.
And you were able to get to it. And as far as you know, I mean, nobody said anything. So, as far as you know, nobody noticed. So you managed to get the infiltrator's key and then, I don't know, slide it into a boot or wherever you're planning on hiding it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yep, you were able to do that.
Okay.
Now, after about 10-15 minutes, the captain comes back, looks down at you, looks down at Jacob, and he says, "All right, get them ready. We got it all the paperwork done." The other 2 guards kind of look at each other. Nope. The other 2 guards kind of look at each other and grin. Pick you both up, turn you around, and kind of slam you, front first against the wall. Not hard enough to cause serious damage, but it's very uncomfortable. As they begin stripping off any weapons that they find, and anything that is obviously of value.
The difference through this seeming.
That is for them to discern.
That's up to them. What's your DC, by the way?
Have you seen on seeming? Let me double check. I am going on my phone. I have it. It is a investigation check against 17.
Against 17. Okay.
Okay. They have to get higher than 17 to get it.
As far as you can tell, no one said anything about it.
Okay.
Okay.
For the most part, he kind of has his book in his normal spot, so they could very easily get that. The dagger is always hidden on him.
Okay.
It's not hard to find unless they rolled a low investigation,
Mm-hmm.
but the dagger is there.
Okay.
His spellbook, and then everything else looks normal.
Yep.
Eurydices would have left the potion of supreme healing with Diane.
Okay.
He doesn't
So.
have everything that he has. He has his spellbook.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
and she would have left most of her weapons aside from her normal dagger at the.
He
So-
was to come out with really nothing. He's got
So-
a decent watch on him.
Okay. So they take
You would've left
basically everything that they can find, which it does not include, excuse me, your dagger, Jacob. They don't find that. They also don't find the infiltrator's key on you, Eurydices.
Thank you.
And what weapons are you currently carrying on you when you were out and about for this?
Eurydices was just carrying her normal dagger.
Just your regular dagger.
Just a regular dagger.
Okay.
Everything else
And they would
at
get
the-
a pouch of
Yep.
50.
The one on you did find that, but that's it. You also they found like if you had any like money pouches on you at the time,
So,
those were pretty obvious, and they found those.
they took 50 gold, 50
Okay.
gold pouch off of Jacob.
Okay.
Eurydices would have left her money at the inn.
You would have left your money? Okay, so they don't find any pouches on you of that. Then they take all those things, and you see they hand them to the captain. Eurydice, you easily notice, he walks back over towards the desk area, and he pulls out like a small little crate, drops it all in there, and pushes that up into the corner, and then puts one of the papers in the crate, comes over to the guard, the guards that have you guys, and say, all right, let's go. They walk over again to the guard who's at the iron grate door. Hand him another paper. He looks it over, looks at you guys, and then he unlocks the door. And you are now brought down, again being carried, into what's a long tunnel that seems to lead deeper and deeper into the mountain. It winds around a few times.
Are there any branching paths?
Not that you see. And then finally, it ends in a very large cavern. And this cavern is filled with freestanding cages. Each cage about 10 by 10. And they are all just, they're in rows, but they are just lining the walls, on the floor. There's enough room to go between them, and you walk between cages. But there are literally, you would estimate from how big this cavern is and what you can see, about 100 cages in there. And it looks like over half of them have someone in them. And as you are brought down in there, they go to two of the empty cages that seem to be kind of the next ones in the line that don't have anyone in them. They open one, they throw you in, Eurydice. They open the other, they throw Jacob in. And then you hear the captain's voice as he's holding on to that sash, Jacob. And he says, just wait until I tell the commander about this. Probably gonna have some words for you. Okay. Oh, and you won't need that. He reaches in and snatches the gag off of you, Eurydice.
And she just starts screaming about free speech and the people.
And he doesn't care.
cruel
He
and
just
unusual punishment.
he just walks off, and others, you hear others that are, yelling and screaming. the guards just walk off. They seem to not care. And they're not going to be here long enough to hear it that long.
But you can make them all angry inside. So right now.
So, that is what you see and hear down there.
Are there any guards in the room? The cavern,
Sure there
whatever.
That you can see from where you're at, not necessarily. Not that you can tell.
Okay.
There may be somewhere, but there's so many cages in this cavern and the way it's set up, it's hard to tell. I mean, unless they're in an easy visual lane, it's hard to see where they could be because there's so many bars that could obstruct your view, depending on which way you look.
So, Eurydice is gonna wait about an hour before she makes her move.
Okay. All right.
Jacob is just gonna speak in Infernal lowly because he knows Eurydice can understand that.
I actually...
Eurydice still understand that? He changed her languages?
No, I cannot understand Infernal anymore, sadly.
Great. What can you understand?
Deep speech, Elvish, thieves can't undercommon.
Okay, now I have to go and choose. I do know Elvish,
I think it came from your pact.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
so it did come from the pact.
Yep.
So Jacob will just kind of wander in Elvish. Oh. Medicals didn't work for me.
You kind of broke up there. What did you say, Jacob?
You need to legitimately talk.
Yeah, he is saying to Eurydice in a very low, muttered voice, trying to make sure no one else can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Medicals didn't work for me.
Sweet.
And with that, because he can move his hands around,
Eurydice will say, let's wait a little longer before we do anything.
I need to be able to see.
I'm just gonna try to sleep for an hour.
Okay.
And because this doesn't require anything other than a verbal and somatic components,
Mm-hmm.
be as quiet as you can be while doing so. If I need to roll a stealth check on being quiet, I will.
I'm gonna say that there's enough noise of the, just even the movement or shifting of people in these cages. Some awake and trying to get comfortable. Some trying to sleep and shifting in their sleep. Others actually up and moving around in their cage. There's enough noises that
You realize that show.
you don't think you need to worry about it.
Are we the only ones talking, or are there other people speaking?
No, you do hear others kind of talking in hushed whispers, or things like that. But it's, most of the people aren't saying things that you can tell, but some seem to be talking. But too far away to really make out what they're saying.
Okay. Eurydice will ask Jacob. So, do you think we need to have seeming up for the whole night? In Elvish, of course.
Not like they're going to keep track of
Well, because I came in with that, I may have to sing myself again. That's my
Well,
flowers.
because I'm just saying, it would be really funny if they came in and they saw that you were Diana.
Well, they can find that out when they try to dispel it.
Yeah.
They want to take it away?
I also just want them to remember my face when I kick him in the balls.
Jacob is going to finish casting Flock of Familiars.
Okay.
So only 2 new things show up. He's casting it at 2nd level.
All right.
Because it does exist out in the world.
Yep.
The 2 new owls appear. He's
Oh, you're
going
in bats right now. You're in a cave.
can't see in the first place. Owls can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You ready
What
to
difference is it going to
told
make with
him?
a blind
Just
person?
would have
Let's go
relayed
blind.
like what
I
the
know
whole
okay,
place looked like that.
they are
day.
blind creatures.
They're not blind, they're just practically blind. They still see.
So he will summon two of the owls because he can't change what they all look like. It has to be the same.
Mhm.
However, he can change the colors of them, and he's going to make them look more closely to what the cave looks like, so a gray and a black.
Okay. All right.
And he's going to just have, because he can summon them away from him, he's going to summon them to where they're just outside of his cage, up above.
Okay.
You said that there was like a spot that it was like hanging from, or is it just a cage in general?
No, these are just cages like sitting on the floor.
Okay.
And there's just, it's a very, very large cavern, and there's just tons of these cages in rows sitting on the floor.
Okay. He will send one just upwards a bit to just kind of take a lay of the land here. And then the other one, he is going to look for the person that matches the description that Diana gave him to find a commanding officer.
Okay.
Trying to see if Maxium isn't there.
Yep. So, before we get to that, so back in the tavern, by this time, it is now about 9:30. What are you guys doing right now?
You have nothing to do until the meeting time.
Okay. All right. So you're just gonna wait. You're gonna wait and then go and try to meet Samuel at midnight. Is that my understanding?
In the meantime, the dumbasses have started a game.
Yeah, Brim shows back up. Diana will at least like take Brim and because you guys can talk telepathically.
Not from that distance.
Oh, but he can get close enough to the mountain again to be able to.
Yeah, if we need to.
So
actually, Jason had an idea. Instead of the glyph of warding being set off by
Christian had an idea.
or Christian had an idea.
You said Jason.
I think Jason.
he was saying, Jason, get your attention.
Had an idea. Glyph of warding, instead of it being set off by like 2 or 3 people walking in, or not saying the passphrase platypus. It could be set off by guards saying, in the name of the queen, or under arrest.
Okay.
Because not a common patron would say any of those things, so.
Mm-hmm.
And neither would any like guards unless.
Man, you should have heard those townspeople today. They were going around and saying, "Oh, you're under arrest."
And a couple of them even were saying, "Have you heard of that joke? It's called 'In the Name of the Queen.' It's a great joke."
Yeah.
But all right, so
I will say, if the trap is triggered, the symbol that will appear is going to be the divine sign of Saloon.
okay.
So it's more of a like, because they're not gonna probably guess like, oh, someone put a glyph of warning and someone put a fucking
over at the church.
Yep.
yeah, I'm like it's like the goddess herself is like protecting this place.
Okay.
So instead of putting the infinity dot he wanted, you're saying it's like the saloon.
Well, no, his symbol still is there. My symbol, I have another symbol that would appear if the spell is triggered.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Hypnotic pattern. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, so everyone who gets underneath the effect of hypnotic pattern will just be staring at Salem's eyes.
Okay.
The symbol is an eye mask staring at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
they need to have respect.
you guys are waiting on the meeting that night. It's probably now about 9:30, so you got another couple hours before you need to head over that way. And Jacob, as your two familiars, one more of grayish plumage and one more black plumage, are giving you a visual of this cave deep within the mountain. You are looking around, and with the one that is taking in kind of the entire scene, it is looking pretty grisly to you. there are clearly tons and tons of cages. Like I said, there literally seems to be 100, if not more. This is a very massive cavern. And the one that is looking closer and kind of looking for Maxim in specific, as you're looking through its eyes, you notice that there are people in here who have obviously been here for a very long time. They are mistreated, malnourished, just haggard. And you could imagine that there is quite the possibility that some people who have been here have died just from being here for too long and not being taken well enough care of. But as you continue to look around, I need you to roll a perception check.
Does Jacob tell Eurydice any of this?
Jacob just letting out a almost quivered sigh as he's
I'm gonna go
currently
berserk if I see that.
because he is currently holding back the emotion of seeing people that look like him at some point.
Eurydice is already trying to get off the cuffs. After hearing Jacob's sigh, she kind of interpreted that as, shit, it's worse than we thought. And so she's already trying to get the cuffs off her with the infiltrator's teeth.
Okay. So what'd you get, Jacob?
16.
16. One cage in particular catches your eye. Mostly due to the occupant that's in there and just how they look. Really, you feel this weight on you and saddened how malnourished and bedraggled this person looks, because you can recognize that this was obviously a lion type of shifter. A golden mane that once would have been just beautiful and almost regal in itself is just disheveled, dirty, scraggly. It looks thoroughly ruined. The body of the person is skinny, weak on what was obviously a great large frame.
I mean, you can still stay in shape. You'll just have thin muscle.
But this man is obviously been taken very poorly taken care of. Maybe on purpose. But you zoom in to get a closer look at him. Okay, so as you zoom in to look closer, this is clearly, at least, if not the man that Diana had described to you, a shell of his former self, of that man. This is Maxim.
That owl was going to land very quietly on the top of that cage. Is a small hoot of acknowledgement to that person. Jacob will wait to see if that person gives a reaction. And with the owl that's around him, does he notice that anyone is around him? Guard-wise or anything like that?
Give me another perception check.
14.
As far as you can tell, you don't notice any guards around. So you give a small little hoot, and as you're watching through this familiar of yours, looking through its eyes, the head turns and looks up at you, squarely at the owl. And even though this body seems to have been ravaged by time and mistreatment, you see a glint of strength in these eyes, still there, burning bright.
Jacob
And it looks up. It looks at you. And what are you gonna do?
Jacob.
A message. He's supposed to.
Yes. No. Because the distance for each of those are the exact same. Jacob's going to cast message.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell him who you are.
And with next queen.
Oh, no, like, I would tell him who you are.
I am the next queen's betrothed. I'm here to get you out.
All right. Say that one more time. I was checking
We should,
something
like,
real quick.
really talk louder.
Yeah, you can talk loud enough. You don't have to actually whisper.
Okay. I'm the next queen's betrothed. I'm here to get you out.
And you hear in response, "Next queen. What do you mean, next queen?"
Thank God it's a cantrip.
And with Diana.
You mean the princess is alive?
Indeed married to her.
Yes. Yes. And you hear out loud, you see through the owl's eyes as this obviously once large, powerful man on this emaciated frame stands up to his full height, and even with how skinny he looks now, you can sense the power behind this man's spirit as a loud roar issues forth from his voice and echoes in this cave. Roar! And that is where we will end tonight.
Yeah, you're died. Yeah, well, now it's a time thing.
Yeah, that's great though.
All right, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you had a fun time tonight. I know I did. I hope you guys had a fun time tonight with everything that happened tonight. And we hope to see you tomorrow for Tailspark Collaborative Build Stream, and possibly next Wednesday. We're gonna see. There might be some stuff going on that is gonna be different because of day job work bullcrap. But you know what? We'll see. So hopefully we'll be seeing you next Wednesday for our next episode of The Blackest Heart. Bye, everybody.